Late December, the past 2 seasons, has meant more than just Christmas for pro football fans in Detroit and Tampa Bay. Last year, final Sunday of the regular season at the Silverdome, and the Lions, unbeaten at home, needed a win over the Bucs to win the division and move into the playoffs. It didn't happen, as Doug Williams speared Kevin House for a club record 84-yard touchdown pass to help guide Tampa Bay to its second Central Division title in 3 years. The Buccaneer defense provided the big play in the final period when Leroy Selman sacked Eric Hipple, forcing the fumble, which David Logan returned for the game-winning touchdown. Today at Tampa Stadium, the battle is joined once again, with the loser facing possible elimination from the Super Bowl tournament. It's showdown time in the NFL, and all on the line once again. Detroit and Tampa Bay coming your way on CBS.
CBS Sports presents the National Football League. Today, the Detroit Lions against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Welcome to warm and windy Tampa Stadium. Absolutely crucial game between these two clubs, and as you look at the standings, you can tell why. There are 6 teams above them in the standings right now. Only 2 more, a total of 8, will make it to the Super Bowl tournament. Hi, everybody. I'm Frank Lieber, along with Joe Grain. It is windy today, but I'll take it over the snow in Baltimore last week, Joseph.
Yes, I will too, Frank.
All right, Detroit Lions have had a miserable time since the strike ended. They've lost 4 of 5, but yet they've still got one of the great front fours in the National Football League.
Well, Frank, they're going to have to continue playing good defense because the secondary is hurting, and they're going to have to put some pressure on the quarterback.
Well, Doug Williams says the Lions are susceptible to the big play. He beat him with it last year. He says he can do it again this year. Speaking of big plays, Tampa Bay shines with the big play on defense week after week.
Yes, they do, Frank. Against New Orleans, against Miami, the defense came in with the big play. And last week was no different. Leading by 1 point, the Buffalo Bills were going in for the game-winning field goal, and the leader of the defense, Leroy Selman, makes a terrific hit, relieving the leaks of the football, and Cedric Brown recovers.
And the Bucs hang on to win it by a score of 24-23. Great play by Leroy Selman, the first of the Bucs, and still the man who is always there when they need him. Detroit won the toss of the coin. They have elected to receive this afternoon. You see Alvin Hall, number 35, who returned the kickoff 96 against the Green Bay Packers, paired with Robbie Martin, number 83. And kicking off for the Buccaneers will be Brian Clark. Now that may get some attention in Detroit because Brian Clark also happens to be the name of Monty Clark's son, who is a quarterback with the San Francisco 49ers. Brian obviously is a kicker. He is from Florida, and they added him to the roster this week when Bill Capice dislocated his shoulder last week against Buffalo. However, Capice is expected to handle field goal attempts. There's the whistle from the referee Jim Tunney, and this NFL game is underway. High kick and rather short, and Alvin Hall fields it at the 11. Back to the 15, 20, big hole at the 30, 35, 40. Hall to midfield, down the sidelines and out of bounds at the Tampa Bay 45-yard line. So the Lions started off with a very big play from their specialty teams.
And Frank, Alvin Hall leads the NFC right now, returning kickoffs. Right here, you can see he found a lot of open room right there, and he just turns on the speed up the sideline.
Brian Clark tried to make the tackle there. He forced him to the sidelines and out of bounds, but the Lions come up with great field position after that 42-yard kickoff return. The officials have spotted the ball at the Tampa Bay Buccaneer 46-yard line. Gary Danielson is the quarterback, and Danielson comes out throwing. Short pass is dropped, and that's been one of the problems all year. This time Billy Sims couldn't find a handle. As we take a look at the Lions offensive lineup, you see they have Dexter Bussey back at fullback. David Hill started the last 2 games. He's been moved back to the tight end position. And some shakeup in the wide receivers because of injuries. Offensive line is a rookie in there, Don Greco. He and Chris Dieterich are starters as of the last couple of ball games. Monty Clark very unhappy with the performance of his offensive line, particularly last week against the Minnesota Vikings. Sims had only 22 rushing in that game. Here's Billy Sims outside and no more than a yard. just inside the 45-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 9 as David Logan, the nose tackle, number 76, ran him out of bounds. Buccaneers play the front three with Logan the anchor in the middle and the all-everything Leroy Selman on the right side. Veteran linebacking crew and one of the best in the NFL. And Neil Colsey and Cedric Brown been having great years in the secondary, accounting for a lot of turnovers for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 3rd down 9, Detroit at the 44-yard line of Tampa Bay. Bussey and Sims, the setbacks, coming with a blitz. Flushing Danielson out of the pocket. Downfield it goes, and Sims caught it out of bounds. Incomplete. Nice catch by Billy that time, but he was out of bounds, being pursued by Hugh Green, number 53.
Danielson did a good job of avoiding the rush and buying time to get the ball to Sims, but he led him out of bounds. That's something we should take a look at later on in the ball game with Green trying to cover Sims out of the backfield deep. He can do a pretty good job when it's about 15 to 20 yards deep, but if he goes any deeper than that, he might be in trouble.
Skladany will be punting. T.O. Bell is back deep along with John Holt for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom and Eddie Murray, of course, took a little walk earlier in the season. Were suspended for a couple of ball games. Came back after the strike. They're 2 of the best in the league at what they do. Aiming for the coffin corner, bounces at the 1. And the Lions desperately tried to keep it onto the field of play, but Roosevelt Barnes couldn't reach it. So it goes for a touchback, and Tampa Bay will go to the offense for the very first time from its 20-yard line when we come back after this. Buccaneers to the offense, 1st and 10 from their 20 as Detroit squandered some pretty good field position after Hall's kickoff return and wound up with nothing. Doug Williams bringing the Buccaneers up to the line of scrimmage. And Williams will come out throwing. Swing pass out in the flat to Wilder up to the 20, 25. Across the 30-yard line and good for a first down before Alvin Hall makes the stop for the Lions. Wilder's turned into one of the top receivers in the NFL here in recent weeks. He's caught 20 balls in the last 2 games. There's the Bucs offensive backs and receivers. Melvin Carver getting his 2nd straight start at the tailback position. Did an excellent job last week, did the rookie. And the veteran, for the most part, offensive line. You see Sean Farrell, who is normally a guard. He's actually starting a tackle for the 2nd straight week, following some injury problems to Charlie Hanna. Again, Wilder, the veteran from Missouri, out to the 33-yard line. Hector Gray moving up from the secondary. We're talking about this secondary of the Lions. They have 3 free agents back there, Joe, and 1 rookie 2nd-round draft choice. That's pretty thin.
Yes, it makes for an awful lot of inexperience back there, and that's where the Bucs are going to try to capitalize on that today, that inexperience in the secondary.
There you see it. Watkins is the only draft choice in there. The other 3 guys are all rookies, and the entire secondary is different from the secondary which wound up the year last year for Detroit. 2nd down 8. Buccaneers with the football at the 33-yard line as they come out in the standard I formation. The tight end Giles in motion, and Williams looking downfield. The pass is a little bit high, intended for Kevin House near midfield. Bobby Watkins defending from Southwest Texas State. Williams is wasting no time testing that secondary.
Yes, he's going to put it on their minds real early that he's going to come after them.
Big week for Doug against Buffalo, 347 yards. Every year he has improved his percentage. He came into the league as a very low percentage passer. Quite a few years was in the 40s, and he's finally got it up over 50%. He is still a little bit inconsistent, even within the same game. John McKay was telling us yesterday he may start slow, but he's always got something there, and he'll come back later in the ball game. Williams trying to pick up the first, and there's a rarity. Tampa Bay leads the league in protecting the passer as Williams has been sacked only 6 times this year. That's number 7, and it goes to Dave Purifoy.
Dave Purifoy, coming from the left of your screen here, is going to sack Doug Williams. He gets a lot of time to throw the ball here, but it's no one open, and it allows Purifoy to come around and make the sack. And this is what they're going to have to do throughout the ball game to prevent Doug from riddling that injury and inexperienced secondary.
Punting situation here. Swider is back to kick. Robbie Martin is deep. He is 3rd in the NFC in punt returns, averaging better than 11 yards per return. Kick is high and a beauty. Martin on his own 29, 30, 35, up to the 40, and forward to the 44-yard line. Well, that's where the interesting matchup in this game will come. The Tampa Bay offensive line, which has done such a great job protecting Williams, and of course the defensive front four of the Detroit Lions, which leads the NFC in sacks. Chamber of Commerce weather here. Great advertisement for the Suncoast. The temperature at 80 degrees, wind out of the east at 15 miles per hour. And we spent Christmas in this area. Been here for the last 4 or 5 days, and it's been this way all week long. A little bit different, though, when you spend Christmas on the beach, Joe. Just an entirely different feeling. First time we've ever done that. First down 10. Lions with the football at their 44-yard line. David Hill was the man in motion. Sims across the 45 and out to the 48-yard line for a pickup of 5. A statistical note, you saw Doug Williams sacked a few moments ago. That was the first time that the Tampa Bay quarterback was sacked in his last 93 pass attempts. The team record is 111.
Well, Frank, a lot of times Doug doesn't get sacked because he gets rid of the ball extremely quick. At that time, instead of throwing the ball up for grabs, he took the sack.
Timeout, obviously, for a Tampa Bay player who was shaken up on that last play from scrimmage. We've got 11 minutes and 59 seconds left to play in the opening period here at Tampa Stadium. Bucks and the Lions, and there's no score. Andy Hawkins, the Tampa Bay linebacker, is the player who is shaken up, a little wobbly, as you can see.
Excuse me, Frank, he's got a few cobwebs there. He met Billy Sims there in the hole.
You sound like a man who's been there.
Many times.
You ever walk off to the wrong bench, do anything like that? Ever get in the head?
I've done that too.
That's the way the series has gone so far, with Detroit with a 5-4 edge. Amazing thing in the NFC, believe it or not, no one of the 14 teams in the NFC is mathematically eliminated at this point from the Super Bowl tournament. Billy Sims on the carry on 2nd and 5, and Sims run out of bounds at about the 47-yard line, very close to the first down marker in Tampa Bay's end of the field. Cecil Johnson, number 56, coming over to make the stop for Tampa Bay.
In order for Detroit to be successful this afternoon, they're going to have to be able to run, and they're going to have to be able to open up some holes for Billy Sims, because he's the key to that offense.
Measurement time for the first time this afternoon. You look at those standings. Tampa Bay, for example, with its record of 3-4, could finish anywhere from 4th to 13th in the standings, depending on what happens here in the last 2 weeks. Lions pick up the first down at the 47-yard line of Tampa Bay. No score with 11 minutes and 32 seconds left to play in the first period. Detroit, one of 2 teams that voted against the agreement signed by the Players Association. And a lot of people speculate that may have a hand in how poorly the Lions have performed since the strike ended. Here's Danielson back to throw it. Protection is good. Lobs it to David Hill, who makes the catch at the 20. And the big tight end is down to the 18-yard line for another first down. Oh, he dropped that in there perfect.
Perfect pass, Frank, right over the head of the linebacker. He got deep down the middle of the zone. Danielson dropping back, and he's going to get a little bit of time to throw the ball here, but he gets a nice little touch on it over the head of the defender right there. Great reception.
Cecil Johnson tried to reach it, couldn't do it. 27-yard gain. Here's the...
Well, this is the reason that they had some time to throw the football. The big pass rushes were blocked. Leroy Selman and Hugh Green.
Back to live action now from the 18-yard line. Danielson looking for 6 points and sees his receiver Leonard Thompson covered on the far sideline. Simply dumps it.
Well, Hugh Green was in the line of fire right there. If he'd have thrown it to the receiver, it probably would have been picked off by Hugh Green.
Gary Danielson, coming into this game, has completed 51% of his passes for 6 touchdowns, but his 11 interceptions are the worst in the National Football League right now. And of course, he came on to replace Eric Hipple when Hipple was going bad. Talking to Detroit about the fact this team might need a new quarterback next year. So a lot of the speculation. 2nd down, 10. Ball at the 19-yard line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is the most serious scoring threat we've had. Danielson again trying to reach Leonard Thompson. And Mark Washington, number 40, got his hands on the football, managed to knock it away.
Tampa Bay was on a blitz in the middle there, and it created a void back there, and Thompson was wide open in the middle, but the quarterback, I think, just overthrew him.
Well, That graphic went away rather quickly, but it was unusual that the Lions seem to be a team that can't handle the lead very well. They've been ahead in a lot of ball games, but they haven't hung on. It shows, I guess, lack of confidence.
Well, I was talking with Doug English the other night, and he said that was one of the problems that they're having, not having that concentration and that confidence in themselves.
3rd and 10 over the middle. That's 6 points. Thompson going high in the air to snag the ball at the 5.
Well, that was the same play that they just ran the last time, and it was open, but Danielson missed, and this time they said, let's try it again and see if we can complete this play.
Thompson, who came up with a big play, big touchdown catch last week against Minnesota.
So slant in. It's a quick, very timely throw right here. A little bit high, but it was no defenders around it, and Thompson went in for the touchdown.
Keep in mind, Danielson's working against one of the best secondaries in the National Football League. Did a pretty good job moving the Lions down the field in that drive, which started at the 43. Eddie Murray tacks on the extra point. And with 10 minutes and 21 seconds left to play in the opening period here at Tampa Stadium, the Detroit Lions lead the Buccaneers 7-0. The book on the Detroit scoring drive for Danielson, his 7th touchdown pass of the year. For Thompson, his 3rd touchdown reception of the season. Leonard seeing a lot more playing time with Mark Nichols out with an injury. Michael Morton on the left there on the right of your screen, and James Owens on the left back as receivers for the Buccaneers as Eddie Murray prepares to kick off. Murray has had just a great year. Squibs this one, bounces at the 30-yard line and picked up by one of the short men at the 30, who returns it to the 35. So it wasn't much there at all, and finally scooped up by Obradovic, number 86, one of the backup tight ends, who returns it to the 35, and that's where the Buccaneers will put it in play. Other games around the NFL: at Kansas City, the Chiefs in front of San Francisco, 3-0. And Pittsburgh leads New England 3-0. You know, New England hasn't been scored on in the last couple of weeks.
And Pittsburgh hasn't been scoring any points since the strike.
I've noticed. 1st and 10. Buccaneers with the football at their 35-yard line. Jimmy Giles in motion. The give is to the second man through, and that's Carver. And he carries it to beyond the 35, out to the 36-yard line. Carver is an interesting story for the Buccaneers. He's a free agent out of Nevada, Las Vegas, and a year ago he was pumping gas in Las Vegas and was just a part-time performer for the Rebels. And one of the Tampa Bay scouts, Craig Fertig, saw him out there, recommended him to John McKay. They signed him as a free agent. He was outstanding last week against Buffalo. 89 yards on the ground, scored a couple of touchdowns. 2nd down, 8 from the 36-yard line. Wilder gets the call, big hole over the right side, and James Wilder, running hard, picks up the 1st down for Tampa Bay at the 47-yard line. Alvin Hall making the stop with an assist from Ken Fantetti, number 57.
James Wilder is becoming Mr. Everything for the Buck offense. He blocks, he catches the ball coming out of the backfield, and right here he does an outstanding job of running and breaking tackles. Right here he runs over Alvin Hall, number 35.
McKay utilizes his wide receivers as messengers. There's one of them, T.O. Bell, right now, and the other one in the game right now is Gordon Jones. They alternate on each play. Of course, Kevin House will stay in the game. 1st and 10 from the 47. Carver, the tailback, looking for a hole and finds one inside as he crosses the 50 and gets down to the 47-yard line. Another thing about Carver, he has brought his parents down from the Christmas holidays from Washington, D.C., where they live, and it's only the 2nd time that they've seen him play since high school.
And I'm sure he wants to give him a thrill today and have a good ball game.
Remember, we talked to him before the New Orleans game, and I said, how about your biggest thrill so far in football? And he said, sitting here and talking to Joe Green. He said, is one of them.
Yeah, he embarrassed me a little bit there.
I know he did. 2nd down. 3 yards needed for the 1st down. Tampa Bay at the Detroit 47-yard line. The Buccaneers trail by a score of 7-0. Again, Giles, the man in motion. And Carver did not get enough for the 1st down. Maybe a yard at most for Melvin Carver. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience, and any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the National Football League is prohibited. Carver comes out of the game on the 3rd down situation. They still need 3 for the 1st down. And And that would mean in all probability that James Owens is in there. Kevin House in motion this time on 3rd and 3, and Williams will put it in the air. Flips it out. Wilder got the first down at the 41-yard line. Mr. Reliable. As we said, Wilder has caught 20 passes in the last 2 games. And he has now caught a total of 40 for the year, second in the NFC. As you saw by that graphic, Tampa Bay has a reputation for being a very slow starting team. On the other hand, the Buccaneers finish fast, and the reverse is true for Detroit. They start fast and then normally finish slow.
This is a critical ball game for both ball teams, and they're going to have to really hook it up right now.
1st and 10. Buccaneers at the line, 40-yard line. Carver in motion, the handoff. Wilder over the left side inside the 35 and continues to run well as he takes it down to the 32 for a pickup of 8. Al Latimer coming up from the right corner position. He's replacing James Hunter. Hunter, who suffered a neck injury, and the doctors have told Hunter that not only will he be out for the year, but chances are they're recommending he does not play football again. You do not want to fool around with an injury like that.
No, Frank, and I'm sure he's extremely disappointed that he's gotten that kind of news about his career.
And he, of course, was the Lions' best defensive back. 2nd and 2 from the 33-yard line. Again, the give to Carver. Spins off a tackle, but manages to get only back to the line of scrimmage. And again, it's Latimer, who spent a little time with the Philadelphia Eagles and then was signed as a free agent by the Lions, making the stop. So we're looking at a 3rd down now, and they need about a yard. 3rd down, 1 needed for the 1st down. Tampa Bay at the 31 of Detroit.
Now, Frank, sometimes you can get an outstanding ball game from players like Latimer, who wouldn't get an opportunity to play if it wouldn't have been for the injuries in that secondary. So this is a golden opportunity for him to shine.
Big play in this drive for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Williams decides to do it himself on the quarterback sneak. And this is so close it may necessitate a measurement. Jim Tunney, the referee, peeling the players off the pile. Lions didn't get in till Tampa until about 10:30 last night. Monty Clark decided to let his players have Christmas at home with their families, and they didn't leave Detroit till about 7 or so last evening, which is a little unusual.
I saw Frank Tunney coming in. I saw Frank Tunney at the hotel this morning, and he flagged me immediately. Defensive holding.
Well, it's close, whatever it is. Tunney indicating that they've got about 3 inches.
Well, that's go for it territory, Frank.
There's Monty Clark looking on. It's not been a happy year for Monty. Coming up next, most of you watching our game will see the Philadelphia Eagles battle the Dallas Cowboys. You've seen the Cowboy-Eagle matchups down through the years. Despite the record of the Eagles this year, that's going to be a great game. Buccaneers go for it, and again, it is Williams on the quarterback sneak, and if he made it, he didn't make it by much, but keep in mind he only needed about 3 inches or so.
The spot right here is also important. It depends on where he puts the ball down.
1st down. So the Buccaneers keep their drive going with a 1st down at the Detroit 30-yard line. 5 minutes and 12 seconds left in the opening period. Detroit leading by a score of 7-0 on the Danielson to Thompson touchdown pass. Buccaneers in the past have had trouble with teams play the 4-3 like the Lions. Why that should be, I couldn't tell you. Carver taking the pitch, trying to get outside. Is stopped at the line of scrimmage. Excellent play. Bobby Watkins coming up from the cornerback position to help force it for Detroit. And also in there, the veteran Stan White. And why would a team have trouble against a 4-3 team where they would do well against a 3-4 team?
Well, I think, Frank, primarily because the Bucs have a 3-4 defense, and they get an awful lot of practice against their defense. Therefore, they probably are more at home in blocking against a 3-4 defense.
No gain on that last play. It is 2nd down, 10 for the Buccaneers at the line, 30-yard line. Slot formation, left. Williams again in trouble behind the line. The ball had been whistled dead prior to the fumble. as Williams is sacked for the second time this afternoon at the 41, and this time it was the left tackle, William Gay, number 79. A one-time tight end who broke through there.
Yes, he did, and Doug Lee's got tremendous penetration. Very quick off the ball right here that caused the offensive line to break down, and they were running a game right here, and I think you're going to see Gay come around Doug English to his right here. Doug makes this play happen right here because he got tremendous pressure right there quick and caused Gay to come around free and untouched.
You think sacks are a little misleading, that, the guy who gets it gets too much credit, because normally it's caused by someone else, many times.
Of course it is, and when you get a defensive line that works together, you're going to have a lot of sacks.
Third down, 21. Buccaneers back on their 41. Williams will launch a rainbow intended for Gordon Jones in the end zone, overthrew him by about 5 yards or so. When we talked to John McKay yesterday, he was saying he wished that Doug Williams would take a sack a little more, not throw that ball away. I don't know if what's happening this afternoon is exactly what he had in mind, because there's nothing that kills a drive like a sack, other than perhaps a penalty.
Well, Doug, as I said, Doug English told me that they were going to try to put quick pressure on Doug Williams by the way of quick games, trying to take some of the pressure off of that, as I stated earlier, the injury-ridden secondary.
Swider to do the punting. Robbie Martin is deep for Detroit. Hangs it up nicely, angling for the near side. And into the end zone on the fly for the touchback, so the Lions will take over at the 20-yard line. So that was Tampa Bay's deepest penetration to date. They got as far as the 30-yard line, and then the sack forced them out of field goal range. Timeout here in Tampa. Frank Lieber along with Joe Grain. Welcome back to Tampa Stadium on an 80-degree afternoon. And the Lions, who've done a great job thus far this year in the first quarter, hold a 7-0 lead, have a first down at their 20-yard line. Danielson at the throttle. Hill in motion, leading the sweep for Billy Sims. Across the 20 and up to the 23-yard line. Buccaneers at this point are actually in the hole. They are minus yardage, -2 in the passing department. So fierce has been the Detroit Lions rush so far. That'll set up a second down and 7. Other scores around the NFL. San Francisco has tied Kansas City in the first period, a field goal apiece. Houston, which hasn't won much of anything this year, leading Cleveland in the first quarter by a touchdown. And the Steelers are 10 points in front of New England. How about that? Maybe they got it going. Frank Pollard just went over from 1 yard out for Pittsburgh. Student body left this time. Sweep didn't work to the right, but for 2 or 3 yards, so they tried to the left and get absolutely nothing. Well, Sims last week got only 22 yards rushing against Minnesota when he's held to that total. You know the Lions got some problems, and Monty Clark was really hot this week at his offensive line. Monty, of course, takes great pride in that offensive line. He developed the great lines at Miami. He's always had teams known for their great rushing games. Third down, 7. Danielson unloads it long. Robbie Martin, the intended receiver, made a valiant try at the 35-yard line.
Yeah, Monty was very unhappy with his offensive line last week, and he said that we asked him if he were thinking about some changes, and he said if he changed, they would just get run over more.
Because he changed a couple people here 2 weeks ago and didn't seem to do much good, and he doesn't have anybody else to go with right now. Back deep for the Buccaneers is Holt, along with Theo Bell. Skladany awaiting the snap from center. John Teneur gets it. Line drive kick this time. Should be returned. Holt 33, 35, 40. And then really nailed at the 41. And we've got our first flag of the game. Penalty marker thrown on the far side. Steve Daig made the stop for the Detroit Lions. Let's see what the penalty was all about. You almost get the impression watching these two teams struggle a little bit here in the early going that maybe they had too much turkey yesterday.
Well, Frank, sometimes Christmas can be a distraction for the players who have to worry about taking care of their families and concentrating on the ball game, the upcoming ball game. So it might take them a couple of quarters to get into the game.
Well, illegal push in the back, 34, during the run back. First down.
So the penalty goes against Tampa Bay's Cedric Brown, a 10-yard walk-off, moves it back to the 30-yard line after the 43-yard kick. And the Buccaneers go to the offense, 1st and 10 from their 30 with just over 2 minutes left to play in the opening period. Williams at this point -2 passing. That's net passing after you subtract the yardage lost on the 2 times that he's been sacked so far. This time wants to go with the quick throw and look for the second man, Wilder. Now he did a nifty job in picking up his second receiver. He was looking to House on the left, and he looked to be covered. And then went back to Wilder.
Yeah, Stan White got in his way there. Stan White slooped to the right there when he wanted to hit House. So he's not there. Then he opened up a lane right here for Wilder coming up the inside. Right here, he threw the ball right between the outreaching arms of the defensive lineman. Very good play.
First down for the Buccaneers at the 49-yard line. A pickup of 19 yards on that play. Al Latimer making the stop for the Lions. That last pass reception by Wilder. Carver in motion, the tailback. Wilder on the carry to the 45-yard line. Wilder's given Tampa Bay all the offense they've had so far.
I think if Detroit would put 2 or 3 men on Wilder, they'll go a long way in stopping this football team.
Thus far in the first period, Wilder has had a very, very active quarter. 3 catches for 36 yards, and that's his 4th carry for 25 yards, so he's averaged better than 6 yards a rush inside of 1 minute to play. In the opening period, a pickup of 6 on that last carry. It is 2nd down 4 for Tampa Bay at the 45-yard line of the Detroit Lions.
They haven't thrown a pass to Jimmy Giles yet today, so let's see what he's going to do.
On the delay, big hole for Carver, who takes it inside the 40 and down to the 37. And if everything's in order, that's another Tampa Bay first down. Fantetti, number 57, and White, 52, in the stop.
Very good play right here. It was a draw. Right here, there was a great block right there by Wilder on Fantetti, number 57, the linebacker. He does everything for this offense.
He's a former 2nd-round draft choice out of the University of Missouri. A very solid football player. 1st and 10. Impressive drive so far by Tampa Bay, which started back at the 30 and has now reached the 37. Quick sideline throw. We get a whistle. Looked like the gun had sounded prior to the snap of the ball. The quarter had ended just as the ball was snapped, so it is no play. First period history. Lions lead the Buccaneers 7-0.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by the U.S. Army, a place to be all you can be. And by IBM.
Near capacity crowd of 70,000 on hand here at Tampa Stadium to watch the Buccaneers and the Lions battle it out with a possible playoff berth on the line. 1st and 10 Tampa Bay as we start the second period with the ball at the Detroit 37-yard line. Williams giving it to Carver, and Carver over the left side slides down to the 32-yard line. A pickup of close to 5 on that play. It'll be 2nd and 5. There's average yardage on first down in the opening period. So you saw Detroit and Tampa Bay did well on first down, but slowed down considerably afterwards. Lions lead it by a score of 7-0. Ball is at the 33-yard line. Called it 2nd down 6. The Lions this year have had problems at all places at home. Last year they were so great at home. Lost only the game to Tampa. This year it's all kinds of problems. Hold over the right side for Carver as a penalty marker goes down, and Carver is hit at the 30 and dives forward to the 27-yard line. That's very close to the yardage needed for the first down, but preliminary indication is holding against Tampa Bay.
Nothing stops a drive quicker than a holding penalty. You have momentum going, and all of a sudden, there's that flag.
So Tunney actually threw the flag on you in the hotel this morning, huh?
He certainly did. Pat Harder backed him up.
He's one of the best in pro football. He's worked several Super Bowls.
Holding at the line of scrimmage, number 88, 10 yards.
And a great inspirational speaker. Jim travels around the country making motivational talks, and I've heard him, and he is simply outstanding. Jimmy Giles, guilty of the holding offense that moves the ball back to the 43-yard line. It is now second down, 16 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. House is wide to the right side. Jones is split to the left. One running back, and that's Wilder. He gets the call, takes it inside the 40, down to the 39-yard line. They had the wide receivers spread out, trying to make Detroit think they're going to throw the football, and then one with the running play in the long yardage situation, trying to cross him up. Didn't get much. Third down. They're still looking at 13 for the first down.
Well, they thought they were going to catch him in that game, the tackle game, which creates a void over there from the outset, but it just didn't happen.
I mentioned the Lions' record this year. They're 1-3 at home after going 7-1 last year. They're actually a better team on the road. They're 2-1 on the road. They were 2-0, of course, before the strike. And since then, they've gone 1-4. Tampa Bay's won 3 out of their last 4. Williams flushed out of the pocket, looking over the middle, finds Giles. 30, 25, 20, and down to the 19-yard line. Always an impressive target. Jimmy Giles, number 88. Alvin Hall makes the stop.
Doug Williams has said over the past few years that the difference between him this year and last year is that he's scrambling now to throw the football rather than run. And right there, he had plenty of time to run, but he found Jimmy Giles over the middle, who loves to catch the ball in the tough situations. Those are fancy footwork right there.
Giles, Pro Bowl veteran, and of course came to the Buccaneers in the original trade, which involved the draft choice, which turned out to be Earl Campbell. 20-yard pickup on that play. First down from the 19-yard line. Buccaneers go back to the ground. Carver to about the 16. No, that's Owens. James Owens, number 26, has just checked into the game, replacing Carver. Owens had a sprained ankle, which is the reason that Carver saw the action last week. And though they said Owens was virtually healthy this week, Carver, they felt, deserved to get the starting call on the basis of his performance. But as they say, there's nothing heals injuries than the guy in front of you playing well.
You better believe that, Frank. That'll always make you heal quicker.
Two different type backs. Carver very strong, and Owens, of course, a great speedster, world-class hurdler. Second down, 7 from the 16. Williams just did get it away and threw it behind the intended receiver at the 15-yard line. That was a lot of pressure that time, as Wilder couldn't quite reach it. William Gay applying the rush, number 79. That front four is still coming.
Yes, they didn't get the sack that time, but he forced Doug to throw the ball before he was ready, and which caused the incomplete pass.
Lions with 29 sacks lead the NFC. They've gotten to Williams twice this afternoon, which is a rarity. Doug Williams has been sacked coming into this game, a total of only 6 times on the year.
And maybe he's doing what his coach wants him to do, is take the sack rather than throw the interception.
Third down, 7 from the 16-yard line of Detroit. Flag down. Wilder caught the ball at the 10 and moved to the 7-yard line before being dropped, which again would have been enough for the first down. But there was a marker on the play, and let's get the indication here from referee Jim Tunney. May have been more than one marker.
Well, Gay was offsides on the initial flag, trying to get a jump on that game, which causes for
holding, offense 75, offside, defense, repeat the play.
So the play is simply canceled out, offsetting penalties, and they'll move it back to the original line of scrimmage, which was the 16-yard line, and set up third down and 7 all over again for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're early in the second period, 11 minutes and 56 seconds remaining in the half, with Detroit leading 7-0. Monty Clark, things have gone so bad for the Lions, he can't believe they're still in the fight for the playoff. He says it's like a cat having 9 lives. You lose and you got another life next week.
Well, that's that crazy setup for the playoff formulas this year.
Williams going for 6 this time. Nobody got it. Everybody had a shot at it, and when all was said and done, no one came up with the football. Bobby Watkins was back there defending. He got his fingertips on it. Watch it.
Doug trying to get this little look in right here. He puts a lot of steam on the ball right here. But just behind him, Carter right there, almost had it and dropped it.
Gerald Carter, number 87, who's normally the third wide receiver. So Buccaneers almost had two men get their hands in the football. Lions had a couple of people. Now field goal time. This would be a 34-yard effort for Bill Capice. And it is good. So Capice coming back after a dislocated shoulder suffered last week against Buffalo. Gets Tampa Bay on the scoreboard from 34 yards away. And it's a 7-3 ball game. 54 yards on the scoring drive for Bill Capice, his 12th field goal in 16 tries this year. And it'll be Brian Clark, the new kicker, signed this week by the Buccaneers from the University of Florida, will be kicking off. Hall is deep. This kick is high and very short. And Hall at the 15, 20. Pops through at the 25 and is stopped just short of the 30-yard line. He returned the opening kickoff, you recall, 46 yards. This is an interesting stat at this point. Tampa Bay trails on the scoreboard, but look at the time of possession.
That's the only people out there that's tied is would appear would be Detroit's defense.
They've been on the field most of the time. As far, Billy Sims has carried 5 times. He has picked up 16 yards for the Detroit Lions, who have a first down at their 30-yard line. Thompson, who caught the touchdown pass, wide to the left side. And Freddie Scott wide to the right. Danielson unloads it over the middle to Sims, 35-40, up to midfield, and into Tampa Bay's end of the field to the 49-yard line.
Well, that time Billy went out and he stopped and his shoulders faced up to the quarterback and he turned around and did a good job of running.
See Sims coming straight up the middle, a little delay there, and then turns around and there it is.
They want to get the ball to Billy Sims as much as possible and with good reason too, because he can't line up the scoreboard.
Officials spotted at midfield. It is first down for the Detroit Lions, who lead 7-3. Still 11 minutes left to play in the first half. The tight end Hill in motion, and Sims crawling, or rather that wasn't Sims, that was number 25 instead on his first carry of the day, Horace King, who just came into the game, and he picks up yardage. Packers over Atlanta in the second quarter. That's a big game for those two clubs too. And St. Louis leading the Giants.
Yeah, well, both of those ball clubs are in hot pursuit of that playoff spot.
King picked up 6 yards on the carry, went right back out of the ball game. Second down 4 at the Tampa Bay 44. You see David Hill in motion on just about every play. Sims driving for the first down, will be very close at the 39-yard line. Looks from here like he's got it. Cecil Johnson, number 56, and Leroy Silman, number 63. On the stop, Jim Tunney, the referee, indicating a first down at the 39-yard line. You know, Sims' contract has come up apparently in the papers up in Detroit once again. He had the long holdout, missed all of training camp, and now there's some charges and counter charges flying back and forth about what was promised after the strike would be over and what wasn't promised. It's got to be a little bit of a distraction. Quick throw to Leonard Thompson. Thompson 35 down to the 32. Another 6 or 7 for the Lions. Washington bouncing him out of bounds for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Freddie Scott did a very smart thing right there. And he had an opportunity to make a block, but it would have been a clip, so he just let him go and let Leonard Thompson do his own thing.
There's Bill Nelson, the offensive coordinator, quarterback coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, talking with John McKay. Bill, of course, one-time great quarterback himself with the Cleveland Browns, and played for McKay at USC.
Got my first sack against Bill Nelson back when he was with the Cleveland Browns.
You'll always have fond memories for him. Second down 3 for the Lions at the 32. Again, Hill in motion. And Sims trying to follow the blocking. Gets a good block from Dexter Bussey around the right side, and that enables him to pick up enough for the first down as he's run out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Watch the block here by Bussey. Very nice.
And they also get a great block here from number 81.
David Hill.
And this is what they're going to have to do to win, in order to win this ball game. And watch Dexter Bussey right there on Cedric Brown.
So first down for the Lions at the 25-yard line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 7-3. Lions leading the Bucs. In the second period, Thompson wide to the left side. Freddie Scott is split to the right. Gary Danielson at the throttle wants to throw this time and intended for Scott. Long about the 12-yard line. He's defended against by Norris Thomas, number 41.
Well, the receiver quit on that ball. I don't know why he didn't go in there after it. It could have been intercepted. Again,
second down 10.
He led him a little bit too much on that.
Gary Danielson trying to get the Lions offense going. Clark was telling us yesterday they had the one good game against Green Bay. They thought, hey, maybe we turn this thing around. But it hasn't happened before or since for Detroit. Second and 10. Danielson, excellent protection over the middle. Intended for King. He's got it at the 20. Down to the 15 to the 13-yard line. It looks like another Detroit first down. Neil Colsey making the stop. Horace King comes in, provides a spark to the Lions offense and leaves.
Well, you called it right, Frank. He's getting excellent protection. Right here, he hits it third, 1, 2, and 3 looks at the defense and allows King to come across the middle as a fourth receiver. Then there's a missed tackle, and King does a good job of running right here.
So the Lions now have reached the Tampa Bay 14-yard line. Bussey and Sims are the setbacks. Behind Danielson, again it is Hill in motion, and Billy Sims carrying tacklers down to the 5. That's another 9. Leroy Selma, number 63, finally making the stop.
Billy Sims in a quick trap play up the middle, and that's one of his best running plays, to spring him quick up the middle and let him get into that secondary so he can float in the air like he does.
Sims just over 500 yards on the year coming into this game, but his per carry average 3.7, lowest since he's been with the Lions. He did have 119 yards early against the Rams. It's been his best game, but he's never had 100 yards rushing against Tampa Bay. Second and 1 from the 5. Sims down to about the 3-yard line, or is it King? No, it's Horace King, number 25, carrying to the 3. That should be enough for another Detroit first down. First and goal to go from the 3.
We're seeing David Hill do an awful lot of blocking today from his tight end position. They put him in motion, he blocks on the wing, and then sometimes he traps that nose man over the center.
Last two games, Monty Clark started Hill as a fullback to take advantage of his blocking. Never carried the football. But this week he's put him back at the tight end slot. First down, goal to go.
He's in the backfield now.
Just one running back, and that's Sims. And Sims this time can't escape the blitz. Neil Colsey, number 20, rifling through from the free safety position to trip up Sims behind the line.
On the toss here, Billy Sims did not have enough time to react to the block. He should have cut inside, but it was no time. Neil Colsey comes in and makes a super play.
So the loss in the play shoves the Lions back to the 8-yard line. A loss of 5. It'll be second down. Goal to go from the 8.
And what the Lions don't want right now is a turnover.
Danielson back to throw it. Looks left. Goes right. Intended for Hill. Touchdown. Penalty marker down to the end zone. A flag down to the end zone. An excellent catch by David Hill, who's been frustrated along with the rest of the Lions. Let's see what the penalty is here. Jim Tunney with the call.
Illegal contact, number 58 defense, decline, touchdown, Cole scores.
So the Lions have their second touchdown of the afternoon, and this is a 13-3 ball game.
Again, the key to this is that Danielson is getting time to throw the football. In the corner, in the back of the end zone, right here, there was pass interference right there. But Dave Hill had the concentration to bring the ball in.
That's his third touchdown catch of the year. For Danielson, his second throw of the afternoon for a score. And Murray tacks on the extra point. And so far, it's been all Lions. 6 minutes, 2 seconds left to play in the first half here at Tampa Stadium. Detroit leading 14-3. Eddie Murray ready to kick off. Eddie, who was the most valuable player in the Pro Bowl last year. And deep, Morton on the right of your screen. And Owens on the left. deep kickoff, and Morton watches this one sail out of the end zone. So the Buccaneers will bring it out to the 20, put it in play from there. A fine drive by the Lions, covering 70 yards. Danielson mixing them up very nicely with Sims running and a few timely passes.
Those are the kind of drives that coaches really love. 10, 12 play drives that take up a lot of time on the clock and get a score.
8 touchdown passes on the year now for Danielson. Williams has hit 4 out of 8 for 56 yards. Been sacked a couple of times. His team trailing now 14-3. Buccaneers stick on the ground. Carver, the tailback, getting the call over the left side out to the 25-yard line. Saw Michael Morton, who was back deep on the kickoff return. He's also from Nevada, Las Vegas, was a 12th round draft choice. He made the club, and Carver made it as a free agent. And John McKay was saying, you spend $16 million on your scouting system, and here a guy comes in like Carver, who should be a 2nd or 3rd round draft choice.
And you're second for the second play in a row there in a 2 tight end offense.
Pickup of 6, 2nd down 4. Giles, the tight end, in motion. Nice hole for Wilder over the right side. He's got the first down at the 32-yard line. Alvin Hall, number 35, making the stop.
Sometimes the reason for those 2 tight end offenses is to have that defense declare what kind of defense is going to be in. They might have been having some problems reading Detroit's secondary.
See Charlie Hanna back in the game for the Bucs. He was out last week with the injury, and Sean Farrell filled in. In good shape once again, and getting the call this afternoon for Tampa Bay. 1st and 10. Buccaneers with the football at their 32-yard line. Carver in motion. The pitch to Wilder. Nose down, across the 35 out to the 38. Pickup of 6 yards on that play. Wilder, as we said, 40 catches coming into the game. The club record is 56. Now, if he had a couple of unbelievable days today and next week, 16 catches, as a matter of fact, in the next 2 games, he could tie that club record, which was set over the regulation 16 games. That'd be quite an accomplishment in a 9-game season.
They're trying to get all they can out of him.
They really are. Maybe a little something extra in his paycheck. Who knows? 2nd down 4. Tampa Bay at the 38-yard line, and they're out of the field. They trail 14-3. 2nd period action here at Tampa Stadium. Quick throw for Kevin House. He managed to hang on to it, but had to make a shoestring catch at the 44-yard line as Bobby Watkins, the number 2 draft pick of the Lions, from the left corner position, was there to make the stop. House, of course, is their big play man. He did the Lions in last year.
They're trying to get Watkins to come up and play him a little bit tighter so they can hit that big one.
So he's limping a little bit as he comes off. Normally he will not come out of a ball game. They'll utilize the other wide receivers, Jones and T. Bell, to send in the plays, but he's hobbling a little bit right now and obviously needs some attention. 1st down, Tampa Bay. Bucs at their 44. Clock is run down to 3 minutes left to play in the first half. Jimmy Giles, the tight end, in motion. Doug Williams rolling right. Lets it go wide open over the middle. Is Carver down to the 40 to the 35-yard line. And inside the 35 is the rookie running back from Nevada, Las Vegas, Alvin Hall, making the stop.
Well, Carver knows what to do with the football when he gets it. Again, Doug is trying to bring the defense away from where he wants to throw the football. Throw back to Carver. And here's no nonsense running right here. He just goes straight ahead and he's just going to run over somebody. He's going to make a hole.
Wasn't anybody near him when he caught the football. No one within 10 yards. Everybody had moved to the right side along with Williams. 24-yard gain on the play and a 1st down for the Buccaneers at the line, 33. 2 minutes, 10 seconds left to play in the first half. Not much there. Carver getting the call and stopped at about the line of scrimmage, and that'll run it down to the 2-minute warning. Al Bubba Baker making the stop for the Detroit Lions. 2 minutes exactly left to play in the first half. Detroit leading Tampa 14-3. Doug Williams in a little heart-to-heart there with Bill Nelson and head coach John McKay disappearing back into the huddle. 2-minute warning time coming up at halftime. Red Nerve with scores and highlights from throughout the National Football League, and Legends of the Game today features one of the great running backs, if not the greatest of all time, Jim Brown. Second and 10.
I really enjoyed watching Jim Brown when I was growing up. Never had the opportunity to play against him, though.
Second down, 10. Tampa Bay with a very, very important drive here. They're down 14-3, but they've reached the 33-yard line of the Detroit Lions. Doug Williams back to throw. Protection is good. Gets it out to Wilder. Takes it to the 29 for a pickup of 4 on the play. It'll be third down. They're looking at 6.
That was a very good call there, but it didn't work. Anticipating Detroit putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback and rushing, trying to get a screen pass out there, but you got tremendous reaction from Gay, the left defensive tackle, number 79.
Lions come with an extra defensive back and a linebacker in what looks to be a passing situation. Third down, a long 6 needed for the first down for Tampa Bay with the nose of the football just inside the 30-yard line of the Detroit Lions. Clock continues to roll with 1:20 left to play in the half. Here's Williams back to throw it, looking long, going for the 6. Intended for Kevin House. Ball wound up out of bounds.
Well, they finally tested the rookie, and he came through with flying colors.
Stayed right with him. Bobby Watkins, man on man with Kevin House, one of the toughest long ball receivers in the National Football League, and that will set up a 4th and 7. And they're going to go for it. They're operating, I should say, with a 15-mile-per-hour wind against them. So a field goal try here would be almost a 50-yarder with the wind against them. And obviously, with Capiz having some problems.
But if they knew they were going to go for it on 4th down, why didn't they do a more conservative play on 3rd down?
Good thinking. 4th and 7. They need the first, and House makes the catch at the 17-yard line. First down, Tampa Bay with a minute left to play in the first half.
Well, Frank, I guess they knew what they were doing. As long as they can do that, why should they play conservative, huh?
Timeout. Exactly. 59 seconds left in the half. Tampa Bay driving for a touchdown they sorely need before intermission. Had a chance to visit with Hayden Fry, the head coach of the Hawkeyes, a couple of weeks ago at Iowa City when we were up there for a basketball broadcast for CBS, and he says he is really looking forward to the Peach Bowl. Iowa and Tennessee next Friday. Great way to spend New Year's Eve afternoon. Doug Williams at the throttle here, going with the pitch out to Carver, and Carver has it down to the 11-yard line, is bounced out of bounds at that point. He does run hard. He weighs about 215 pounds, a real cherub-faced youngster, and not only is he fast, John McKay told us yesterday he runs a 4.5 in the 40, but as McKay put it, he presses the entire workroom. I mean, he just takes care of everything that they have in their weight room and lifts it.
Well, you could tell that by looking at his chest when we met. You know, he's very big up top.
Second down. Buccaneers need 5 for the first down, 11 for the touchdown. They trail 14-3. We're in the final minute of the first half. On the delay, fumble by Wilder. And the Buccaneers, who lead the league in fumbles with 21, now with 22, get a break here as they have recovered their own fumble on the 10-yard line. Boy, it's almost of utmost importance to them that they score here. They really need a score, preferably a touchdown. Again, timeout Tampa Bay with 40 seconds left to play in the first half. So the Buccaneers add another fumble to their league-leading total, but fortunately Carver was there to recover Wilder's fumble. Third down, 4. Go for the touchdown here or the first down, Joe?
Time is not a big problem for them right now. So I think they should be going for the first down.
Yeah, they need 4 for the first and 11 for the touchdown. They're going for the 6. And Giles, the intended receiver, was double covered in the end zone. He had no chance at all. Hector Gray, the strong safety, was back there. Number 26, along with Alvin Hall. And now they'll they'll have to settle.
One of the best plays they got is throwing to Wilder coming out of the backfield, out in the flat, and that would have been a safe play to get the first down.
Capice on with his second field goal effort of the afternoon. He's 1 for 1, having hit from 34 yards earlier. This will be for 29 yards, and against the wind. Slider to hold. The kick is good. So Capice continues his excellent field goal kicking. 13 out of 17 on the year for the former Florida State star. 14-6. Lions lead the Bucs with 31 seconds left in the first half. The preceding message was brought to you by the National Football League. Well, obviously, Capice feels his strength coming back, and he's going to try kickoff for the first time this afternoon. Brian Clark, the replacement kicker, tried two, and they were very short. And obviously, that looked like McKay feels that Capice could do just as well. Dislocated shoulder and all.
Onside possibility here.
Well, let's see. 31 seconds left. He wants to make sure it isn't returned, so he keeps it on the ground. Still gets through to one of their best returners, who's Robbie Martin. And Martin gets it up to the 31-yard line with 25 seconds left to play in the first half. Again, coming up at halftime, a review of all the scores from throughout the National Football League. Long drive by the Buccaneers, 69 yards, but they're still looking for their first touchdown of the afternoon.
I think that's going to come back to haunt them as the day goes on. They needed a touchdown on that drive, Frank.
Time for one or two more plays for the Detroit Lions before intermission. Perhaps a couple of pass plays could get him in shape for a field goal attempt by Murray, as Danielson's had a pretty good afternoon, but he's going to sit on it. Lions field with a 14-6 lead, and since most everything that's gone for them has been bad this year, they want to make sure nothing else happens, at least prior to intermission, and go to halftime leading 14-6. Far cry from last week when they were down 24-7 to the Minnesota Vikings at intermission. So 70,000 looking on, and they haven't had much to cheer for so far this afternoon, as the Lions have had the most of it. A couple of touchdown passes from Gary Danielson have been the difference in this game. Lions leading the Buccaneers 14-6. Back with scores and other highlight features in just a moment.
Welcome back to the News Desk in New York. I'm Brent Musburger with Irv Cross. Irv, let's quickly take everybody to the scoreboard. We do have some surprises to tell you about. The defending Super Bowl champion San Francisco 49ers again are in trouble, playing the Kansas City Chiefs of the AFC. And watch what happens here to Joe Montana. He throws a swing out to Jeff Moore, who can't hold on to the ball. And it's problems like that that have been besetting Coach Bill Walsh and the 49ers all season long. Montana under extreme pressure right here, Irv.
Boy, pressure indeed, Brent. Now watch number 52, Thomas Howard, break through and sacks Joe for a loss.
Now to show you how badly things are going, that is the first punt ever blocked off the bare foot for Jim Miller. You know, Bill Walsh just can't believe it.
That's right, he can't. When things start to go wrong, they really begin to fall apart. And Walsh is beginning to wonder what happened to the Super Bowl year. Bill Kinney goes upfield for a long pass down the sideline to number 82, Anthony Hancock, who catches on to it for a 41-yard touchdown.
So it is 10-3 right now, Chiefs over the 49ers. Meanwhile, it is the Browns and how the Bucs knocked Detroit out in Detroit last year. And today the Lions are trying to return that favor. Meanwhile, Terry Bradshaw is coming back this afternoon. 20-0 now. He has the Steelers ahead of the Patriots, who have won their last two games and had not given up a point on those two Sundays until this afternoon. The Giants and St. Louis, and yes, the air has gone completely out of the Giants since the announcement by Ray Perkins that he is going to coach Alabama. You see the other NFC score, 14-7, the Packers leading the Atlanta Falcons. They are in the second quarter of that. But before we tell you more about that game, let us now show you what happened in this one. It was the Atlanta kickoff. And watch Green Bay haul it back. It'll be Del Rogers, 76 yards.
Brent, I've been watching all the games across the National Football League today, and this one by far is the most intense. Atlanta and Green Bay have really been going after each other. Playoff fever is here. Great kickoff return.
But it took a while for the Packers to get on the board. Watch what happens here. Kaufman coughs it up, and Bob Glazebrook has got it, Irv, and that stopped one scoring threat. And Bart Starr said, oh no, this happened to us last week in Baltimore, not again. Watch now, Lynn Dickey go long to James Lofton.
The Packers are looking for a mismatch here. Number 28, Bobby Butler, is only about 5'9" or 5'10". Pass interference, couldn't get up and back the ball down.
Then it was Eddie Lee Ivory. Runs it in for the touchdown. So the 80-yard drive ended in a score. Dickey again to Eddie Lee Ivory, and watch this effort by number 40. The former Georgia Tech star returns to Atlanta and gets in for Starr. Then it was 4th and goal after the Packers held, and Bartkowski got William Andrews open, stepped up, hitting for the score, and now the Packers, Irv, have just come back moments ago, and this is what happened. James Lofton got free with that great speed.
Well, sooner or later it was going to happen. They've been trying to go to him all day long. That man chasing him, Bobby Butler, has had his hands full. Of course, he was on the other side this time, and Lofton goes the distance.
That is his first touchdown since the strike. You might recall the last game prior to the strike was that Monday nighter. Lofton scored on that end around. So right now, 21-7 Packers over Atlanta. In the NFL today, we'll continue with Irv Cross looking at Jim Brown right after these messages from your local stations.
Sunday, what does Archie have against Billy's teacher?
Philosophy is what constipates people.
Then, with Joey away, will Gloria play Sunday?
This is CBS.
Happy holidays, everybody. And you know, when the Chicago Bears take the field against the Rams in Anaheim today, the focus will be on Walter Payton, who needs just 9 yards to become the 4th player in NFL history to rush for 10,000 yards or more. The first to reach that plateau was the man that many regard as the greatest runner ever to play pro football, Jim Brown. There is no doubt about his credentials as a legend of the game, and here is Irv Cross's profile of the Cleveland Brown running back who could do it all.
There have been many superstars in pro football, but only one Superman, Jim Brown.
Live from the Stardust Hotel in Las Vegas, it's the Stardust Line.
Good evening, everybody. Stardust Line, Lee Pete and Jimmy Brown. And if I don't start saying Jimmy Brown and Lee Pete, I'm going to be in serious trouble. But we welcome you, the power of the...
He retired from pro football in 1965, although many thought he could have played at least 3 more seasons. Today, in addition to being an actor and a consultant to Motown, he spends his weekends here at the Stardust Hotel in Las Vegas, working as a co-host on a radio talk show about sports. And as always, when he asks Jim Brown a straight question, you get a straight answer.
Good evening, the Stardust Line, Lee Pete and Jimmy Brown. You're on the air.
Jim, were you the greatest?
Irv, how simple can that be? I mean, is there really a doubt? Taking everything into consideration, Lee, I have to be number 1.
If you don't believe him, then you just never saw him carry a football. The NFL Record Manual devotes several pages to Brown's career accomplishments. They include most yards rushing, most touchdowns scored, and most 100-yard games. But perhaps most impressive is this. In 9 professional seasons, he never missed a game, even though every NFL defense was out to get him.
I remember a particular time when the New York Giants decided that they would hit me in the eyes. They would go after my eyes, and they would intimidate me and get me out of the game. So after the first couple of guys would hit me, the next guy would come with a forearm into the face mask. After about 5 or 6 or 10 of those, I couldn't see very well. And it's the first time I had to decide whether I was a coward or not. Fortunately, when I went back out there, I broke one for about 80 yards. And that took care of that.
Jim Brown was more than a football player. He was a man of conviction, an outspoken critic of a system that made black athletes heroes on Sunday afternoons, but which denied them their basic civil rights.
I was a superstar. 80,000 people would cheer. But I'm not just a big guy that want to carry football. I have a mind. You know, I did graduate. I started businesses. I think. I feel. I'm sensitive. I'm perceptive. So I'm not going to ever be fulfilled as long as minorities in this country cannot fully enjoy the American way of life. It's the greatest way of life in the world.
His concern for racial equality and his fierce pride were sometimes mistaken for hostility. But there was no mistaking his peerless skills as a ball carrier. the one and only Jim Brown. Without a doubt, the greatest of them all.
Herb, did he ever feel the pressure of being Jimmy Brown?
He told me that he had to give a performance every Sunday. He had to rush for 100 yards plus or he had a bad day. So that was pressure on him, no doubt about it.
His performances were unbelievable, too. Now let's send you back to the stadium and the game you're enjoying on CBS.
Welcome back to Tampa Stadium. Still at halftime with the Detroit Lions leading the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 14-6. The Lions are back in the field. Here come the Bucs, and the second half will be underway momentarily.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Budweiser Light, with a clean, distinctive taste worthy of the king of beers. Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way. And by Atari, makers of home video games and home video game systems for fun everyone can share.
Frank Lieber along with Joe Green. Second half about to get underway. Back to the first half and a couple of big touchdowns for the Lions.
Yes, Danielson finding Leonard Thompson on the post.
That was good for 18 yards in the first score, and the second touchdown to tight end David Hill made a great catch here.
He did. Danielson had an awful lot of time to find him in the corner of the end zone. Right, he makes a tremendous catch right here with the defender all over him.
Those are the only two touchdowns of the first half, and Tampa Bay answered with a pair of field goals, a 34-yarder and a 29-yarder by Bill Capice. Here are the first half statistics so far. And nothing really outstanding that jumps out at you. Tampa Bay has been moving the ball, and Tampa Bay obviously has held the ball a good portion of the time. But as they say, the only thing that counts is what's on the scoreboard.
I think the key to that was that Tampa Bay being in scoring territory, but not being able to come away with the 7, having to settle for the three points.
Michael Morton and James Owens are deep for the Buccaneers. Eddie Murray preparing to kick off. Eddie was out here before the rest of the team at halftime, practiced a few just to get the wind a little bit. Lions should have the wind in their favor here. That's Morton, the young man from Nevada, Las Vegas, who is a 12th round draft choice, carrying it back to the 20-yard line. And the Buccaneers will put it in play from there. Williams in the first half hit 8 out of 14 for 102 yards. His leading receiver, Wilder, who caught 4 for 39, and Wilder was also the leading rusher with 42 yards in 8 carries. Players shaken up, a Detroit player, so timeout on the field. We'll be back here in Tampa in just a moment. The injured Lion player is longtime veteran specialty team star Ken Calicut, who was injured here in the second half kickoff. Still not on his feet, so we'll have a delay of another moment or so. We remind you that coming up next, immediately following the conclusion of this ball game, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. That's their annual showdown at Texas Stadium, the only time this year that the two teams meet. And despite the fact the Eagles are down a bit in the standings this year, they're always pumped up to play the Cowboys. That's going to be a great football game. Right now, Cowboys could very well be the best team in pro football.
They're playing that way, Frank, and they were preseason favorites to go to the Super Bowl.
First and 10, Tampa Bay from the 20-yard line as we resume play. They send Carver in motion and give to Wilder, a play that's worked well for them in the first half. They pick up 4 this time before Stan White, the right side linebacker for the Detroit Lions, manages to stack things up. This is only the second game this season that Tampa has played against a team with a losing record. Their schedule has been very tough, and that's a big part of the strike situation is who had the tough schedule, who had the easy schedule, who missed their tough games. And Tampa Bay came out on the short end of the stick. They've been playing tough teams all year.
Well, Detroit is playing like a tough team today, and it appears that they want to get into the playoffs more than Tampa Bay at this point.
From what we've seen. Second down 6 from the 24. Williams with the sideline throw. Really hustled that time by Bubba Baker, number 60, who was in all over him.
Quick pressure. That's what they wanted to get on Doug, so that you wouldn't have time to pick that secondary apart. And at this point in time in the game, it has been working for the Detroit Lions.
The intended receiver was Ed Obradovich, as the Buccaneers on that play went with a double tight end setup. Now they go with a 3 wide receiver setup as Gerald Carter has come in. They're looking at a 3rd down, needing 6 for the first down with the nose of the ball just inside their 25-yard line. House to the right side. Carter in the slot off to the left. Williams slips, manages to get the pass away as he is falling, thereby preventing the sack. But the pass falls harmlessly incomplete.
I tell you, Frank, so often defensive lines set the tone of a football game, and today the Detroit Lions Silver Rush is setting the tone for this football game for the Lions.
Swider comes in to do the punting, and the deep man will be Robbie Martin. Martin, the number 3 punt returner in the NFC, averaging better than 11 yards per return. And anytime you get that figure in double figures on the returns, you've got an excellent punt returner. This one hangs up nicely. Martin fields it at the 33, bounces off a tackle, and winds up being decked back at the 28-yard line. He did a great job keeping his balance, but the hit spun him backwards, and he wound up 5 yards further back than where he was. Davis on the hit for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Timeout in Tampa. Detroit Lions, their first offensive possession of the second half, have the football at their 29-yard line. They lead 14-6. As Joe mentioned, have set the tone in this ball game so far. Danielson with the pitch to Billy Sims. And Sims is caught at about the line of scrimmage. Looked like Scott Brantley, number 52, knife through there from a linebacker position.
Scott Brantley is one of the leaders of this ball club, but they have a lot of leaders on defense out there. And the Tampa Bay team relies so much on that defense to make the big play in games past, and this game is no different. They need a big play from the defense to try to wake up this Tampa Bay football team.
Well, the offense hasn't done it so far. They haven't produced a touchdown yet. And the Buccaneers are going to find themselves further in the hole if they don't come up and do something here. Danielson, again with good protection, floats it over the middle. David Hill all by himself at the 35, takes it out beyond the 40 to near the 45-yard line, and that's a Detroit Lion first down.
And this has been the key to Detroit's success all day, is giving Danielson a time to see the defense and step up in the pocket and throw the football. Right here, David Hill slips through. No one notices him, and he hauls in the ball and gets the first down.
Hugh Green making the stop, catching him from behind, but not before the Lions have the first down with the nose of the ball just inside their 45-yard line. Carry over the right side by Bussey, and Dexter Bussey is out beyond midfield to the 48-yard line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A pickup of close to 8 yards on that carry. Scott Brantley made the stop with an assist from David Logan.
They sorely need a big play right now because this is a dead team, Tampa Bay team, and so is this crowd, this home team crowd. They haven't had anything to cheer for either, Frank.
It's been very flat. You're right, both the team and the crowd sitting on their hands. Lions moving the ball down the field, 2nd and 2. Horace King, who is alternating at times with Bussey, to the 46-yard line. He'll be close for the first down. David Logan making the stop. Now, realizing that the Lions play indoors, you played up north. You had to come down here to places like Tampa Bay and play. How much of a difference is that, getting your body used to the change in climate?
Well, it would be a great difference if they weren't playing inside, but playing inside with 70-degree temperature, it's kind of like playing outside. You get extremely tired playing indoors.
3rd and 1, and Billy Sims has the first down and a whole lot more, as Sims, on his longest gain of the day, takes it down to the 32-yard line.
And there were 3 Tampa Bay players sprawled out over the field after Billy Sims finished that run.
Hugh Green finally made the stop. Now, this is vintage Sims here. This is the way he can run.
Yes, it is, and he's running this way because he's getting the great blocking. Right there, he avoids the tackle, and Hugh Green comes in and makes the play. I think that Detroit's offensive line is responding to the challenge that Coach Money Clark put on it.
1st and 10 once again for the Lions, this time at the Tampa Bay 32-yard line. Hill, the man in motion. They go with the simple handoff to Sims over the right side to about the 29-yard line for a pickup of 2, maybe 3 yards on the play. Cecil Johnson made the stop. Danielson so far 7 out of 13 for 116 yards, no interceptions. He has 2 touchdown passes on the day, and chances are he's quieted a few of the critics.
On that play, Hill was supposed to have been blocking number 56, and he missed it. I'm sure that Billy Sims has had a word to say to him when he got back in the huddle.
2nd down, 7. Again, Sims. No, it's Horace King breaking through past the 15 and down to the 5-yard line. And that will draw some boos from above.
Right here, we're going to see him run right by Leroy Selman. Leroy had lost him. He cut back really well on him, and then he just did an outstanding job of running. But they're getting some outstanding blocking up front. Horace King making a terrific run.
King has not been used that much. I mean, up until this ball game, he had carried only a total of 8 times on the year for 12 yards. That run, good for 25 yards. And a first down for the Lions at the Tampa Bay 4-yard line. The first possession of the second half, and Sims crashes over for the touchdown. Billy Sims, 4 yards for the score. And the Lions put another 6 on the scoreboard to make it 20-6.
Determination. Billy Sims gets a crack right here, but after that he does the rest on his own. Cecil Johnson right here is going to miss the tackle. Then he's still getting outstanding blocking up front. Billy Sims refused to be denied on that play.
Well, they made it look easy. 71-yard drive on their first possession of the second half. And Eddie Murray here to tack on the extra point, which he does. And with 9 minutes and 12 seconds left to play in the 3rd period, the Detroit Lions have moved out to a commanding 21-6 lead over Tampa Bay. Coming up on New Year's Day, the Pitt Panthers and the SMU Mustangs. Great passer in Dan Marino of Pitt, a great runner in Eric Dickerson of SMU. We'll have it for you at 1:30 Eastern Time on CBS Sports. Murray with the kickoff. Morton at the 5. The little man back to the 15. Across the 20 and up to the 26-yard line. By the way, Horace King's run a moment ago, that 25-yarder, was the longest run against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. King has done an excellent job. 4 carries for 36 yards, where he's carried just 8 times all year coming into the game. Here's the Detroit scoring drive. On their first possession of the second half, they take it 71 yards.
They're going to feel the heat of this Detroit rush right now.
Williams out to Wilder. Wilder 30, 35, and up to the 40-yard line. Didn't waste any time getting rid of it there, did he?
Yeah, well, anticipating the rush, you got to get the ball outside and get rid of it quick. And this is what he did, getting the ball to the flats to Wilder, the guy they've been calling on all year to make those clutch catches and get those much-needed yardage.
So Wilder now with a total of 5 receptions on the afternoon. In addition to being the Bucs' leading rusher, that play picked up 14 yards. A Tampa Bay first down at the Bucs' 40. Carver trying to get it outside, out to about the 41, maybe the 42-yard line, and that's it. Bobby Watkins coming up from the left corner, number 27, to make the stop.
Well, they're trying to get outside of the rush, and they know that Detroit is, with the type of leads that they have right now, defensive linemen love to have, and they're coming real hard at it.
2nd down 9 for the Buccaneers at their 41-yard line. 7 minutes, 55 seconds left in the 3rd period. Buccaneers will play their final game at home, the makeup game next week against the Chicago Bears. And Detroit also at home against the Green Bay Packers. Could be interesting the way things are going. Williams with the sideline throw to T. Bell, who shakes off one man and is close to the first down marker at the 49-yard line. Looks like he's about a yard short. Al Latimer making the stop, number 43. Old Pittsburgh teammate of yours.
T.O. Bell, he's a really tough little guy.
recall he got into some money arguments up there. Wasn't that the reason that he left and wound up down here?
Yes, he did. He had contract problems, and he didn't report to camp, and Coach Noel didn't take too kindly to that.
Third down. Short 2 or a long 1 needed for the first down to keep this drive going. Carver finds the niche there, cuts back in, and has the first down at the 46-yard line. The rookie running back from Nevada, Las Vegas, who's had a busy afternoon, 12 carries for a total of 37 yards. Another big game in the National Football League is at halftime. That's in Atlanta with the Packers leading the Atlanta Falcons 21-7. Keep in mind that the Packers will figure in one of the key games next week when they take on the Lions at the Pontiac Silverdome. Depending on where you happen to be, you'll see one of these 3 games. First and 10, Tampa Bay from the 47 of Detroit. Williams looking over the field and spots looked like Obradovich down there that time. Obradovich, the backup tight end or second tight end, making the catch at the 32.
First down passing a lot of times allows you to find the receiver. Right here, they didn't get the rush for one of the few times today, and he finds Obradovich right there in the middle, in the seam, in the zone.
Jim Obradovich picks up the first down for the Buccaneers at the 32-yard line. And the way the Lions are going, I don't think the Buccaneers will be happy to settle for a field goal on this drive. They need a touchdown. Carver in motion. Wilder takes the handoff to the 30-yard line. Pickup of 2 yards on the play. It'll be second down 8. Ken Fantetti, number 57, the middle linebacker, making the stop.
Well, the Bucs have not got in a panic situation yet. They're still on their basic game plan. They're just trying to get on the scoreboard.
Lions really beset with injuries. Of course, they lost Hunter. They've lost Ray Oldham, a defensive back starter. Mark Nichols, their number 1 draft pick 2 years ago. Jimmy Williams, the number 1 pick last year, all out with injuries. Second at 8 from the 30-yard line. Doug Williams. Bullet for Giles at the 10, at the 5, and down to the 3-yard line. Jimmy Giles, the tight end, taking that rocket off the arm from Doug Williams, and it's first and goal.
Jimmy Giles getting released right down the seam in the zone, right down the middle. And this is the guy that said he wants to have the ball when the game is on the line. And when it gets tough, he's the guy you should get the ball to if you're a Tampa Bay Buck.
Giles in his 6th year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's the club, holds the club receiving record. First and goal.
This is where they've been having their problems, getting in scoring territory and not being able to get the big 7 points.
27 on that pass play. Carver trying to cut back inside, thought he saw an opening. Maybe got a yard to the 2-yard line, and that was it. Bubba Baker stood him up. Big Bubba, number 60, making his presence felt. Bubba has 8.5 sacks on the year, which ties him for 3rd in the NFL. Former 2nd-round draft choice from Colorado State. Officials actually spotted back on the 4. If anything, now looks like Carver lost about a half yard on the play. Second and goal. Wilder in motion. Williams fumbles the snap. Let's see if he runs for it. He is over. Touchdown. Well, hard to say if he was going to run it all the way or not. What do you think?
I don't know. Maybe the fumble caused him to change his plans right here, but he's getting a good lead block here from Sean Farrell, number 62, and he just outruns Fantetti.
Doug Williams crashes across for Tampa Bay's first score. And that makes things a bit more interesting with 3 minutes and 25 seconds left in the 3rd period. 21-12 Lions with the extra point try to come from Capice. He's got it. And yet one more look at that touchdown by Doug Williams, a solo job as he fumbles the snap and then picks it up.
His heart was in his hand then, I'm sure. Doug Williams doing a good job here of getting outside of the defense. As we noted earlier, getting a good block right here from Sean Farrell, number 62.
Rick Kane on the right and Alvin Hall on the left, anticipating the kickoff from Bill Capice. Well, the offense of the Buccaneers has suddenly come to life. Tampa Bay's defense come up with a big play, or at least stop the Detroit offense. Hall, penalty marker down. Ball is dropped at the 27-yard line. Neil Colsey on the stop. Doug Williams in that touchdown drive, in addition to scoring the touchdown, was a perfect 4 out of 4 for 64 yards in the passing department. And the rushing TD was the 13th of Williams' career. And his second on the ground this year. The walk-off against the Lions, and they'll wind up with poor field position back at the 9.
Illegal push in the back, number 62, during the run back, first down.
Costly penalty charged against Curtis Green off the Lions specialty team. Now let's see if the Buccaneers defense, which has come up with a big play so often, can do it again. This crowd now suddenly has come alive, Joe.
A little touchdown will do strange things for the home team. Like make them cheer.
David Hill in motion. Not much there. Quick pitch that time to Billy Sims, and Cecil Johnson played his college football at Pitt. Former teammate of Tony Dorsett stood him up to make the tackle at about the line of scrimmage. Those are the balls spotted just beyond the 10. If anything, maybe a half-yard gain on the play. We'll call it 2nd and 9. Danielson leading the Lions up to the line of scrimmage. Sticking conservative right into the middle of the line. Horace King on the carry. You saw Dave Logan, number 76, the nose tackle, and Leroy Selman, number 63. Drop him for no gain.
Well, it would appear that Detroit is trying to play it safe now. They're backed up a little bit, and they don't want to give this Tampa Bay team some good field position.
They've got a decent breeze at their back here in the third period, which has 2 minutes and 5 seconds to go. Third down. King gained a yard. It is 3rd and 8. Lions lead has been cut to 21-13. Danielson is caught back at the 1. Big sack. Who else when you want the big play? Leroy Selman, number 63. Time and time again.
This is my kind of football player here. The quiet hero, the guy that goes out and does his job and just goes home every day. There he is. Leroy Selman. When you need the big play, Leroy can make it for you.
So that presents the Lions with a not too enviable punting situation here, with Skladany standing as far back as he can. And Tampa Bay has to come out with good field position. A bad kick, a line drive kick. Holt at the 35 is already down to the 30 and to the 28-yard line of the Detroit Lions. So a very definite shift in momentum here. And a lot of the crowd here, 70,000 on their feet, as the Buccaneers come up with excellent field position with 1:16 left to play in the third period. Lions leading the Bucs 21-13, and Tampa Bay on the move. Doug Williams about to lead his Tampa Bay offense back to work. 1st and 10. Buccaneers at the 28-yard line. Well, you said at the start, the big play Tampa Bay defense, and they came up with a big one there in the sack.
Yes, they did, and they forced a bad punt, and they got excellent field position.
Williams, who has had a productive afternoon throwing the football so far, on the delay gives it to Carver, and Mel Carver, the rookie running back, takes it to the 23, a pickup of 5 yards. That sack by Leroy Selman was his 10th career sack against Detroit. So he likes to play against the Lions, as does Doug Williams, who had 4 touchdown passes against them in the early game last year. and has thrown for a total of 10 touchdowns against Detroit in his career. Second down, 6 needed for the first down. Touchdown and an extra point obviously would make this a 1-point ball game. Quick sideline throw to House. And House is wrestled out of bounds at the 15, but not before he picks up the first down. Watkins, number 27, and Gray, number 26 on the stop.
The Bucs are just taking what Detroit gives them right now. Bobby Watkins is playing off of a House right here, and it allows him to get 7 yards for the first down.
That punt, by the way, by Skladany a moment ago only covered 35 yards, a line drive kick, and not the kind of kick you'd want when you're kicking out deep in your own end zone. First and 10, Buccaneers at the Lion 15-yard line. Keep in mind, Tampa Bay, strong second-half team where the Lions aren't. Pitch out, Carver, caught behind the line of scrimmage, drives forward, and turns what looks to be a 3-yard loss into a gain of a yard at the 14-yard line.
He had no place to go then, Frank, and yes, he did. The Detroit line defense strings it out real well here. Watkins got in there, made him cut back. Stan White right there on the tackle, number 52. But Carver did a good job of turning that into a 1-yard gain.
Clock running down, the final seconds of the third period. There's the gun. The quarter is ended with the score, 21-13 Lions. We now pause for a word from your local station. Frank Lieber along with Joe Green back in Tampa, and a lot of the Lions' problems in 1982 have occurred in the final period as they've been outscored heavily. Wasn't the case last week, but it was too little too late against Minnesota. Right now the Buccaneers are coming back. They have a 2nd and 10 from the Lion 15. They trail by a score of 21-13, but the momentum has shifted. This time, however, Williams throws the ball behind the intended receiver, who is Gordon Jones, number 84. And that'll set up 3rd and 10.
Well, you win them in the 4th quarter, Frank. That's when the good teams come alive. But you have to be close enough to win them in the 4th quarter.
Green Bay Atlanta is now in the 3rd period, with the Packers still holding a 2-touchdown advantage, and St. Louis putting it on the Giants. It does look like Ray Perkins' departure has had a very definite psychological effect on the Giants. They don't seem to be the same ball club. Big play, Tampa Bay here. 3rd down, 10 from the 15 of Detroit. Williams looking to pick up the first, goes to Wilder, 10, 5, and down to the 2, fumbles it into the end zone. Recovered by Tampa Bay. However, the play may have been whistled dead at the 2. And I believe that will be the case. 1st and goal to go from the 2.
Well, you're talking about having some outstanding players at this tailback position. Well, here's a guy that can catch the football from the fullback position. Wilder, as we've been stating all day, that just does everything for this Tampa Bay offense.
And a good call, we might add, by the official. It was obvious that Wilder was down at the 2-yard line. It is 1st and goal to go. Nose of the ball just outside the 2. Wilder and Carver behind the quarterback, Doug Williams. Carver, the tailback, to about the 1. And then shoved back. Watkins was there, so was Alvin Hall, number 35.
You know, when I was playing defense in a short yardage situation, I always loved to see the team line up in a I formation. Particularly when they give the ball to the tailback, it just takes too long for that play to get there because of the penetration from the defense. And if they give it to the fullback, he has no one, he doesn't have a lead blocker blocking for him. So I don't like that play in short yardage situation.
It is 2nd and goal to go from the 1.5-yard line. Carver has come out, and James Owens has come in at the tailback slot. Owens this time does not get over.
That's what we're talking about,
right.
Frank. You see the penetration from the defense. He was hit before he even got to the line of scrimmage. He's too far in the backfield.
How about the fake into the middle here? A little roll around the right end.
Fantetti, number 57, right here, making the hit before Owens even get to the line of scrimmage. It just takes too long for that play to develop in a short yardage situation.
It's unbelievable watching Fantetti on that play. No one touched him. They're out of the 2-yard line, botched in as they were, and he still got through. It is 3rd and goal from the 2. Williams wants to throw for 6. He's in trouble behind the line. Gets it away. Touchdown. Owens did a great job keeping both feet in bounds, as it looked like Williams might be trapped behind the line of scrimmage.
Williams again scrambling, buying time to wait for his receiver to come open. Right here, Dave Purifoy misses a sure tackle, but watch this catch right here. Staying in bounds, concentration. All the way, a great catch by Owens.
That's a great little piece of footwork there by James Owens, who had to keep both feet in bounds.
Anybody that ever played football has always tried to practice making a catch like that, Frank.
Here's Capice now, trying to make this a one-point game. Buccaneers were down 21-6. Not anymore. It's now 21-20. And a lot of time remaining. One more look at the touchdown.
The valuability of having a quarterback that can run and has a strong arm like Doug. Right here, he shakes off a tackle by Purifoy, and he's feeling pressure right here from Fantetti, but he throws the ball and gets rid of it, and Owens makes a great catch.
Capice ready to kick off. Of course, the Buccaneers didn't have to go far in that drive after the short punt by Skladany and the big defensive play on the sack by Leroy Selman, which pinned Detroit back to their 1. Here's Alvin Hall from the 1 up to the 15 and stopped short of the 20-yard line. Very definite shift in momentum in this game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were flat for 2.5 quarters before getting their act together. Coming up shortly, immediately following the conclusion of this game, our doubleheader game today from Texas Stadium, the Philadelphia Eagles against the red-hot Dallas Cowboys, who have the best record, and the Washington Redskins in the NFC.
That was great kick coverage then on the part of the Tampa Bay Bucks, not allowing them to get to the 20-yard line.
Buccaneers are pumped up now. Sims and Bussey in the backfield. Danielson looking to throw downfield, trying to hit Scott. And it is picked off by Tampa Bay. And Cedric Brown came up with the interception. The officials say he was down at the 34. But a big turnover, the first interception of the day against Danielson, and Brown, who has been absolutely spectacular with 5 turnovers in his last 4 games, took this away from Scott.
Scott right here, I think Scott quit on the pass right here. If he kept running and driving across the field right here, he wouldn't have caused the interception. Right there, and Cedric Brown has intercepted 5 passes from the Detroit Lions in the last 3 games.
Alive. He had 4 interceptions in 2 games last year against them, and now picks off his 5th in 3 contests, as Joe pointed out. And the Buccaneers, trailing by a point, have a first down at the Lion 35-yard line. Kevin House in motion, the give to the second man through, and that's Carver running hard inside the 30 down to the 28. You know, you're saying during the timeout, you really can't chalk that interception up to Danielson, although it'll go down in the books as that.
It's unfortunate for the quarterback because the receiver quit on that pass. If he'd have just drove on the ball, he might have been able to bring it in for the catch, but it would not have been an interception.
Second down 4 for the Buccaneers at the 28-yard line of the Detroit Lions. Carver now with 51 yards rushing in 17 carries. Working in the backfield with Wilder. Again, it is Carver taking the pitch. He's down to the 25. First down at the 21. Bounced out of bounds on the far side. And aided by an excellent block from James Wilder, number 32. As you said, Wilder does it all. He blocks, he catches, he runs. Watch him here.
Right here in the left of your screen, you're going to see Wilder do it. Make a good block here. And it cuts off the block right there. Carver. He's having a good day in his second start. He's giving his parents another Christmas present.
Indeed. As we mentioned earlier, he brought his parents down from Washington for the holidays, and they're seeing him play football for only the 2nd time since his high school days. First and 10 from the Detroit 21-yard line. Carver on his third straight carry bulls his way forward to the 16. That's close to another 5 on that play. Ken Fantetti, the middle linebacker, number 57, and William Gay, number 79, on the stop. And the Lions have had their problems in the fourth period, as we have pointed out. They just seem to lose confidence, whatever it is, and they had a 21-6 lead in this game a bit earlier, but couldn't stand the prosperity, and that lead's been trimmed to 1 point. And right now they're in danger of losing it. Here's Carver, 63 yards rushing. After 89 last week against a good defensive team in Buffalo. 2nd and 6. Williams pumps down the sidelines, looks to the middle, finally unloads, and this one is intercepted as the Lions get it right back. Gary Cobb, number 53, who's missed 3 ball games with an injury, comes up with a big defensive play. And we talked to John McKay yesterday. He was saying he doesn't want him to throw the football in that situation. Take the sack instead.
And this is one time that Doug should have taken the sack. He can't find anyone open right here, and he's sacked. So just take the sack. He's in good field position. Don't give up the football. Right there, he just threw the ball away. Cobb came up with the interception.
That's coming up on New Year's Day next Saturday, the Pitt Panthers and the SMU Mustangs. Great New Year's Day matchup in the Cotton Bowl Classic at 1:30 Eastern Time. Now the Lions just showed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that they can come up with a big defensive play too. However, they got very poor field position at their own 2-yard line. Sims diving out across the 5 to the 6-yard line.
And if they don't get themselves some operating room, again, they face the possibility of giving Tampa Bay some very good field position.
Lions have taken a lot of criticism, and much of it deserved. Even their owner, William Clay Ford, has been quoted in the papers this week as calling his football team a ragtag bunch. And he said, and that includes the coaching staff. That's pretty strong.
Extremely strong.
Would say. Did you see Mr. Rooney saying that?
He never would say anything like that. They let the coaches do the coaching.
Riley Clark, 45 years old, in his 5th season as head coach of the Lions. 2nd down, 6. Sims in trouble behind the line. That dive got it out to the 5 and about to the line of scrimmage. It looked for a moment, though, like he was going to be trapped at about the 1 or 2 yard line. Andy Hawkins, number 59, who was shaken up earlier for the Buccaneers, in on the stop. 3rd and 7 as the officials mark it at the 5.
Well, right now what Detroit wants is a one-on-one situation with Billy Sims and Hugh Green and to try to get this first down.
Sims with 58 yards and 16 carries. He's played against Tampa Bay 4 times previous and never picked up 100 yards rushing against them. Normally he's about at least every other game he goes for 100 yards. That's been his track record.
Well, he won't do it out of this formation.
3rd and 7, pitch to Sims. Nothing. Cedric Brown coming up from the secondary to help make the big play. And again, the Lions are going to be punting from the back of their end zone.
Right now, the Detroit Lions have been, these last 2 series, they have been playing not to lose. They haven't done anything to protect their lead.
Skladany will be standing as far back as he can. And John Holt will be single safety. Last time Skladany got off a 35-yarder and a line drive kick, which Holt returned to the 28-yard line.
He should be punting the ball away from the single safety. He's got plenty of room. Don't punt the ball to the safety. Punt it away from him.
He's punting against the breeze. Low kick, bounces at the 35 and takes a big lion hop across the 50 into the 46-yard line. So smart play by Skladany, knowing he was going against a 15-mile-per-hour breeze. He did not hang it up in the wind. He line drived it, but away from the kicker and got a favorable hop. Timeout here in Tampa. One of the great intersectional matchups of the regular season. Louisville and UCLA at Pauley Pavilion. Homecoming for Denny Crum, who used to be an assistant coach at UCLA. We'll have it for you Tuesday night. Late night basketball on CBS.
I'll be right there watching, Frank.
All right, first down. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at their 46-yard line. They trail by 1. Carver getting the call, and Carver gets back to the line of scrimmage as suddenly the Detroit defense, fueled a moment ago by that pass interception by Gary Cobb, getting stronger, it seems. Alvin Hall in on that stop along with Cobb. 8 minutes and 6 seconds left to play in the game. 21-20. Lions lead it, and one of the Buccaneers shaken up on that play.
Doug has a tendency sometimes to try to do it all himself because he is such a great athlete. But what he needs to do right now is just continue to use all his people, all his weapons. The reason for that interception the last time was because he was trying to do it himself.
Coming up a little bit later on tonight on CBS. Of course, it all starts with 60 Minutes. And then this tremendous Sunday night lineup. Archie Bunkers plays Gloria, the Jeffersons, One Day at a Time, and Trapper John M.D. We've got it all for you tonight on CBS. It was Wilder that was shaken up on the play. Looks to be okay, but he'll get a breather for a play or two here. Second down. And 10 for the Buccaneers at their 46-yard line. Lions trying to hold on. They lead by 1. Williams, little flip pass out to the far side to Carver. And Carver is close to a first down at the 45-yard line. It's like he's about a yard or so short.
Well, if you're a running back and you want to play for the Tampa Bay Bucks, you have to be able to catch the football, you have to be able to run, and you also have to block. These guys do everything coming out of that backfield.
Wilder comes back into the lineup. So does a second tight end in Obradovich, as Carver gets a rest here in this 3rd down and 1 situation. Tampa Bay with the ball at the Detroit 45-yard line. The Buccaneers have the wind with them in this final period of play. Pretty good breeze too, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Wilder trying to pick up the yard they need for the first down. Does not get it. Great job by the Detroit defense stringing that out. Doug English was over there. He pursued it all the way to the sidelines, as did Fantetti. And now a decision coming up for John McKay.
Number 52, Stan White creates this play because he makes Wilder go deeper than he wants to, and he allows Fantetti to come up and make the tackle behind the line of scrimmage. Right there, Doug English, number 78, comes in and finishes it up. He's getting a lot of help from his teammates.
McKay has opted for the punt. Actually, the truth be known, Wilder lost a yard. It's 4th and 2. Swider in to do the punting. Robbie Martin is deep. 6 minutes, 58 seconds left to play in the game. Angling it for the near side. Martin at the 9. Back to the 10, 15, and across the 20 to the 21-yard line. Martin does a great job in making the on-rushing defenders think he's not going to catch the football. All of a sudden, at the last minute, he puts up his hands and pulls that thing down and takes off. 38-yard punt and a 14-yard return. Elsewhere in the NFL, Pittsburgh still putting it on New England. That's now in the 4th period, 20-7. San Francisco has come back, leading Kansas City in the 4th quarter. And the Packers looking very strong against Atlanta, 28-7.
The Packers back, and they're talking playoff up there in Green Bay.
1st and 10, Sims over the left side. Behind a herd of blockers out across the 25 to the 26-yard line for a pickup of 5. David Logan, number 76, making the stop for the Buccaneers. Speaking of the Packers will line up against the Detroit Lions in the Pontiac Silverdome in a game that many of you will be watching next Sunday, depending on where you happen to be. Another big doubleheader. That'll be the makeup weekend. This was supposed to be the last regular season weekend. Because of the strike, they'll play one more before getting into the Super Bowl tournament. 2nd and 4, Sims. Out to the 30, looks to be about a yard short of the first down. Lions obviously try to control the football and run that clock down. 6 minutes and 6 seconds. That's what's left to play in the game, and Detroit leading by 1 point, or the Lions led in the 3rd period, 21-6.
Game of inches. You know, this is something as a defensive lineman. When you make the tackles, you want to try to push those running backs backward. Right here, Sims was stopped about 2 yards short, but he leaned his body for an extra 2 yards.
3rd down 1. An extra defensive lineman in there for the Buccaneers. Brad White giving him a total of 5 men up front. And Sims diving for the 1st down. From here, it doesn't look like he made it.
Frank, I don't understand it. Again,
everybody in America knew that was coming, didn't they?
That's right. In a short yardage situation, they go to that I formation, which is not a good formation for short yardage.
He did not get it.
Here, it takes too long to develop. Right here, they're getting a lot of penetration underneath, what you're supposed to do, and the linebackers coming over the top. Right here, Cecil Johnson coming in, making a good hit.
Skladany will punt. Holt is deep, standing back at the 30-yard line. 5 minutes, 25 seconds left to play in the game. Started off very slowly, but it certainly got interesting here the last 30 minutes or so. This one driving Holt back to the 20, 25, and up to the 26, and we've got a flag, and it looks like a clip on Tampa. And another flag back at the line of scrimmage. Could be Detroit had some inside people release. We could have a case of offsetting penalties here. Let's see. They may make him do it over.
Illegal block, illegal push in the back during the run back, illegal motion on the offense at the line of scrimmage. We'll replay the down. 4th down.
Well, that's a break for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because chances are they may wind up with better field position in their own 25, and certainly a lot better than the 15-yard line or so, which they would have been on had the penalty strictly been against them.
Again, I don't understand why the punter punts the ball to the receiver, to the return man. You got a single safety back here, and you got all that field to work with. Why not punt the ball away from it?
Let's see what he does this time. Skladany, one of the best in the league. Led the NFL last year in punting. Averaged just over 41 yards on the year this year, and he's over that today.
What they normally do, Frank, is they try to punt the ball to one of the wideouts.
He just puts it straight ahead. Holt caught back at the 20-yard line. Excellent coverage by the Detroit Lions. See if we got another flag here. Roosevelt Barnes, number 54, was down there quickly. There was a marker thrown back at the line of scrimmage, which again normally was against the offensive team. Yes, this time it'll be an illegal receiver downfield for the Lions, and they'll bring it back one more time. Well, the Lions are trying to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory here, the way they're operating.
Do that again? But I tell you, you're going to have some awfully tired guys going down on this punt this time.
Ineligible man, number 32 on the kicking team. Downfield, too early. Still 4th down.
What did the coaches tell you about when to go down? Listen for the thud?
Listen to the thud, and they have a count. They have a rhythm there, which normally the punter gets the ball off in about 8 seconds, so they count in their heads. And when that count goes, they take off.
All right, Skladany now standing back on his 10-yard line. Again, booming it straight away. This time it's T. Bell who's back. Fields this one at the 27 to the 30. And stopped at the 31-yard line. So John McKay figuring that Holt was getting a little worn out returning punts with penalty flags, put Bell in there and let him return one. Again, coming up shortly on CBS right after this ball game, you'll see the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Dallas Cowboys at Texas Stadium. One of the great rivalries in the National Football League. Of course, rivalries don't mean quite as much this year with the conference alignment as opposed to the old divisional setup, which we'll be back to next year. 4:45 left to play in the game. Tampa Bay trailing by 1, 21-20, and Williams wants to throw for a bundle. Fires it over the middle. That's complete to Jones. Gordon Jones drops the ball, but out of bounds. And Tampa Bay retains possession at the Lion 44.
This is the first time that Tampa Bay has thrown the ball on 1st down since the first half. And they're going to hit Gordon Jones from Pittsburgh, number 84.
Pretty good move
right
here, too.
On a turnout. Curley in right here, and 43 misses the tackle. Latimer missed the tackle. There, and he fumbles the ball, and he gets lucky that it goes out of bounds.
That takes a Tampa Bay bounce for sure. And the Buccaneers have a first down at the line, 44. 4 minutes, 37 seconds remaining. Carver. No, yes it is Carver. I thought for a moment that Owens is back in there. Owens wears 26. And Carver wears 28. Carver's been the workhorse. Doug English, number 78, making the stop. Low center of gravity, Mr. Carver, at 5'10 and about 215 pounds.
You know, even though Tampa Bay thought they could take advantage of Detroit's secondary today, they really haven't done that. I think the primary reason is they haven't had time to throw the football. And that's what Detroit set out to do, is to not give Doug an opportunity, time to throw the football.
2nd and 9 at the 43-yard line.
Timeout, Detroit, number 1.
And the Lions calling a timeout here with 3 minutes and 58 seconds left to play in the game. They want to get their defense set up here. Again, Tampa Bay is at home next week in the makeup game against Chicago. And the Lions will be at home at the Pontiac Silverdome to take on Green Bay. It's Maxie Baughan, the defensive coordinator, talking with Gary Cobb. In case you joined us late, 2 touchdown passes by the Lions in the first half. One to Leonard Thompson from Danielson, the other one to the tight end David Hill, accounting for the 2 touchdowns in the first half of play, and then Sims on a short plunge in the third period, which enabled the Lions to take a 21-6 lead in this contest. And the Buccaneers finally getting it going. After being held to the 2 field goals in the first half of play, they've come back with a couple of touchdowns of their own. One on a great catch by James Owens.
But the momentum in this game swung when the Tampa Bay defense made some great plays. They got a sack back there on the 1-yard line and forced a bad punt, which got them good field position, and Cedric Brown's interception.
2nd down, 9. Tampa Bay at the line, 43-yard line. 21-20. Detroit leads it. Doug Williams, big pressure, gets the pass away, completes it to Giles. Down at the 21, he loses the football. And Detroit has recovered. Big play by Roosevelt Barnes, number 54, who comes up with the ball. Williams doesn't like it. They're trying to indicate that that Giles was down, but Jim Tunney indicating it's Detroit's ball. There's Tunney talking it over with Pat Harder, his fellow official. Lions will get it. Now we get a flag thrown on one of the Buccaneers for protesting too much.
Well, we're going to get a look at it right now. We can determine for ourselves exactly what happened. Here Giles makes a great catch, and he's trying to run. Right here, he's getting stripped of the football. Vaughn strips him of the football. But it appeared that he was on the ground when the ball actually came out. He was in the process of stripping him, but the ball didn't come out until he was on the ground.
A 15-yard walk-off here against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Sportsmanlike conduct, number 12, Tampa Bay. First down.
It would appear that Doug Williams lost his temper.
I think he did, Frank.
That cost the Bucs 15 yards. Detroit takes over at the 35-yard line with 3 minutes and 44 seconds left. And Doug Williams lost his cool.
Detroit came up with the play they had to create the turnover and try to preserve this victory.
And that's the second big defensive play that the Lions have turned in. Remember the interception by Cobb. And now Barnes, who not only stripped the ball, but then recovered the fumble. And the Lions staying on the ground, intent to run out that clock as best they can. And there's the time remaining in the football game. They've spent the last few minutes simply handing the ball off to Billy Sims and hoping that Sims can pick up a first down or two. And Sims has had a tough time of it thus far today. 21 carries in the game for a total of 68 yards. Timeout. And Danielson will go to the far sideline for a word with Monty Clark. Ted Marchibroda has taken over this year, the former Baltimore coach, as the offensive coordinator, replacing Bob Schnilker. There's been criticism in that direction, too. Next Sunday on CBS Sports, the NFL Today starts it off. And depending on where you happen to be, you'll see one of the games of this doubleheader: St. Louis at Washington, Chicago at Tampa Bay, and Green Bay at Detroit. That's Makeup Sunday. All gets underway at 12:30 Eastern Time, and then the Super Bowl tournament starts. And right now, believe it or not, every team in the NFC is still mathematically in the chase.
They're talking playoffs in Green Bay. They're talking playoffs in St. Louis. They're talking playoffs in New Orleans, and places that they're just not known for having their teams in the playoffs.
Well, they're apparently very happy in Green Bay as the Packers putting it on the Atlanta Falcons on the road today. And that victory most certainly, provided they do win that game, will put the Packers into the playoffs for sure. Booze raining down on the Detroit Lions. Second down 8 with the Lions at their 37. David Hill in motion. Danielson wound up keeping the football, but not much there. You know, Hill starts up toward the line of scrimmage so fast it almost looks like he's offside, that he's made his turn upfield and into the middle of the line before the ball is snapped.
Yeah, that could. He's not supposed to go forward towards the line of scrimmage before the ball is snapped. That would be a penalty.
I don't think Danielson particularly wanted to wind up with that football. Next to Gary there, you see Eric Hipple. Been a long year for Danielson. Of course, kind of an up-and-down career for him. He was not drafted. Played 2 years in the World Football League. Hurt his knee back in 1979. Seems to be very strong in even years and not so good in the odd years. But his 11 interceptions coming into this game led the conference. Other scores: Packers another touchdown, and Green Bay leading Atlanta 35-7 in Atlanta. And the Cardinals ahead of the Giants 17-7. That's in St. Louis. Houston has taken the lead on Cleveland in the fourth period, 14-10. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are coming back. Steelers got some life in them yet. Terry Bradshaw has thrown 2 touchdown passes in that game. They've run the football exceedingly well. Seattle at Cincinnati, it's a 14-10 game. Jim Zorn to Steve Largent for the last touchdown, which drew Seattle a bit closer. Detroit has had only 79 yards total offense in the second half. Tampa Bay's done a good job shutting them down since intermission.
Detroit has been shutting themselves down. They've been playing very conservative in the second half.
Third down 6 from the 39-yard line. Buccaneers putting the pressure on Danielson. Flags down. Sims got enough for the first down, but there was one flag thrown at the line of scrimmage and the other one deep in the secondary. Pat Harder, one of the officials, making the call and coming over to report to Jim Tunney, the referee, who will tell you about it.
Holding 72. Too many men on the field, 12 men on the field. Tampa Bay will play it over, offset.
Buccaneers at 12 men on the field, and there appeared to be some confusion because 2 men came racing off. Looked like a couple of linebackers, and McKay tried to send in a couple of defensive backs at the very last second.
Whatever it takes, Frank. If it takes 12 men, we'll do it that way too.
Of course, the Lions have a little experience with playing 12 men, as the Dallas Cowboys can tell you about from last year.
And they got away with it.
They got away with it. This time Tampa Bay didn't. Again, third down, 7 needed for the first down. Danielson trying to keep the drive going, flushed out of the pocket. Another flag goes down, and Danielson stopped 5 yards short of the first down. And that flag thrown in the area where you normally would see offensive holding. Oh, defensive holding. How about that? That's an automatic first down. Conference among the officials. 2 minutes and 58 seconds left to play in the game. Danielson in on the discussion with Jim Tunney, the referee. Hugh Green kind of sneaking his way toward that huddle.
The holding by Tampa Bay was on the man going through the line, which is legal. No foul. Fourth down.
And obviously that brings a huge roar from the Tampa Bay fans, because that will set up a 4th down situation. The Lions will have to punt, and Tampa Bay gets one more shot at it. And John Holt, number 21, will drop back deep and will be joined by Theo Bell.
Okay, that's to prevent, they got a double safety back there, and that's to prevent Skladany from punting the ball away from either one.
Skladany has this one bounce at the 30-yard line, takes a Lion roll and goes out of bounds at the 22. So pretty good punt by Skladany, keeping it low again as he's working against the wind here in the final period. And the Buccaneers with the win, with one shot at pulling this one out, need a field goal and have a guy who can kick it, who has pretty good range. Capiz has kicked him better than 50 yards this year.
This could be the drive that determines who's going to get in the playoffs out of these two ball clubs here.
It could get down to this. So let's see what the Buccaneers can do. Doug Williams has thrown 28 passes, hit 18 for 243 yards. One interception, a very costly one. Stop the drive down to the 2-yard line.
First down passing.
He wants to do, and that's what he does. But House, the intended receiver, fell down, slipped at the 32-yard line. Of course, they've booed Williams in the past here. Last week they were booing him early. But as John McKay told us yesterday, Doug is the type of guy you don't pull him early, even when he's off to a bad start, because he may come back in the second half and just be gangbusters, which he was last week against Buffalo. He came back very strong.
Well, it's important that they get a first down. They should be playing for first downs and not touchdowns at this point.
2nd and 10 from the 22-yard line. One running back. And that's Wilder. And of course, he catches it very well. Pass downfield, first down, Theo Bell at the 34-yard line. Bobby Watkins making the stop as Williams now trying to work on this young Lions secondary. Lions with 3 free agents and 1 draft pick in that secondary, and not much experience there at all.
In a situation like this, it's an awful lot of pressure on that offensive line.
Wilder at the 40 and up to the 42-yard line, picks up 7 as the Buccaneers go without a huddle, 2 minutes and 10 seconds as Williams takes a glance at the clock. Buccaneers have their timeouts left. They're going to use one here.
With a 2-minute warning. That's a smart play. Take your time out, go over the sideline and collect your thoughts.
2-minute warning. We'll be back in Tampa in just a moment. Frank Lieber with Joe Green back in Tampa. There's our timeout situation. We obviously miscounted Tampa Bay, but they had at least one more timeout. But the official word we got during the 2-minute warning is that the Buccaneers have just 1 timeout left. The Lions have 2. And as we get back to play, Tampa Bay owns the football at their own 42-yard line. They have a 2nd and 3 upcoming. They need a field goal to win. Lions leading 21-20. Theo Bell wide to the left side. They line up with a full house backfield. See if they put someone in motion. They do. And that is Kevin House. And Williams looking downfield for House at the 50. Has him and run out of bounds at the 45. Again, looking at Bill Capiz, the field goal kicker. He has kicked him as long as 51 yards this year. That's been his longest. So he's got good range.
We're trying to get Wilder over there to set up that block against Watkins, and if he would have been able to get in position, House could have gone all the way.
First down for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit 45. There's the man it may get down to. With 1:54 left to play, Capiz, who is 2 out of 2 in the afternoon, 29 and 34. Blitz was on, and they beat the blitz and got the pass away, but for one of the few times this afternoon, Wilder couldn't hold it. They had the left side blitz coming, and Williams obviously felt something. The other field goal by Capiz was from 29 yards out, so he's been perfect. He made, they said, one of the best hits of last week's game against Buffalo, dislocated his shoulder, making the tackle on the kickoff, so he was questionable.
He gave a farm tackle, a clinic tackle on that play.
2nd and 10 from the Detroit 45. Doug Williams floats it down for Giles. That obviously would have given them more than ample field goal position. Watch how close this is.
Somebody didn't get a jam on Giles because he got down the seam of that zone extremely quick and just out of the reach of his outstretched arms. Right here, he makes a gallant effort, but to no avail. He had beaten the linebacker Barnes.
Roosevelt Barnes, who came up with the strip of Giles and the turnover a moment ago, and Giles had a chance to pay him back for it. Couldn't hang on. 3rd and 10 for the Buccaneers at the 45-yard line. They got to be thinking first down here. A lot of time left with 1:46. They have one timeout remaining. Williams, good protection, flag down. Wilder hangs on, does not pick up the first down, is run out of bounds at the 39. They had to reach the 35 for the first, but there was a marker thrown at the line of scrimmage. And it is against Tampa for holding. What do you do now, Joe? Take the gain, make them go 4th and 4. Do you push them back? I guess you push them back out of field goal.
Make them go 3rd and 20. And let your defensive line tee off and hopefully get another sack or put some pressure on the quarterback, force him to throw the ball before he wants to.
Stan White having the options explained to him by Jim Tunney, the referee. Ten-yard penalty for holding. Here's the call.
Holding, 75, 10 yards, still 3rd down.
Costly penalty against the veteran Dave Revis. Detroit by 1, 21-20. Tampa Bay now looking at a 3rd and 20, back on their own 45. Both teams need the victory badly to stay in the hunt for the Super Bowl tournament. Williams steps up in the pocket, lets it go deep. He's got a house down there, but he can't get it to him. But the penalty marker is thrown. Flag is down at the 10-yard line. Pass interference against Bobby Watkins.
Tough break.
A lot of bumping going on around the 10-yard line. When in doubt, Williams going to Kevin House, his big play man from out of the past.
Pass interference, cut the receiver off. Number 27, first down.
You can't cut the receiver off, and that's what he did. Watch it again.
This is what they used to teach him, the defensive backs. Cut the receiver off, don't let him get to the football. Right there, he's going for the football just like the wide receiver is. But he bumped him while the ball was in the air. He was parallel with him. If it had been in front of him, it probably wouldn't have been a penalty.
That's a 42-yard penalty and gives the Buccaneers a first down at the Detroit 13-yard line. Williams gives to Carver, who bores his way forward to the 10. Now they're just going to run the clock down, I'm sure, and get in shape for a field goal, which would win the ball game by Capice. There's the time remaining. And we get a timeout call by the Lions. They have 1 left now.
You know, Frank, I always get nervous in a situation like this. When you go for the touchdown or the field goal, the touchdown makes me feel better.
I'm sure it does. Capice has come through with a lot of pressure shots for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the past.
I have nothing against kickers, but I tell you, I'd much rather see one of those guys carried over for the 6th than to wait for the last play of the game and depending on the field goal.
Looking up Capice's record here, he's 7 out of 8 from inside the 30-yard line. And he missed only 1. That was against Dallas from 27 yards away. And on the year, he is 13 out of 17. Right now, with the ball at the 11, the Bucs will be looking at a 28-yard field goal attempt.
They should be going into the end zone at least a couple times. Safe passes into the end zone. You don't want to turn over, but I think you should be trying to get the touchdown.
Williams, having conferred with John McKay, wants to come back and have a final word with his head coach. Doug Williams, 21 out of 34 on the afternoon for 276 yards. Pretty nifty afternoon of throwing the football when all is said and done. Each team with one timeout left, and the Lions leading by 1.
Defensive linemen live dangerously. We want to go for it all, you know.
Wilder and Carver are the setbacks. Now it's the Lions who need the big defensive play. A fumble or something. Carver trying to get outside. And is stopped at the 11. Virtually no gain on that play. You know, we talked to Williams yesterday. He told us, he said, you get into a situation like this, you want to tell a rookie, particularly like Carver, which he did last week, don't fumble the ball. But he says he has to bite his lip, and he won't do it because that plants the seed, right? And he's seen guys that he said, don't fumble the ball. Next play, they're thinking about it, and they do it.
Frank, you know, it's incredible that those kinds of things happen, but they do. They really do. I've seen it happen so often.
So he can assure that that Williams has not told him to Carver not to fumble the ball. Jim Tunney, the referee, having a word with Monty Clark. They may be talking about that pass interference call. You know, you question too whether that pass was catchable. It has to be catchable, does it not?
I think you're very right, Frank. It does have to be catchable, and it's up to the discretion of the official to determine whether it was a catchable ball or not.
Gosh, a little bit late right now to be talking about it. Doug English bending Tunney's ear as they walk back to the line of scrimmage. Doug had a great game against Green Bay several weeks ago. Had 4 sacks in one game. Here it is, the big play of the game, the pass interference call. Watkins stride for stride with Kevin House.
And he's playing the ball and not playing the receiver. And House ran into the back of him. And that's what they teach defensive backs is go to the reception area, cut the receiver off. And I don't know how you could have played it better.
Well, are you saying it's a bad call?
Sure, it's a bad call.
Was it a bad call?
It's a bad call.
That sounds like a guy who makes his living playing defense. Will Capice doing a little pacing. 13 out of 17 on the year, 2 for 2 for the afternoon. Third down. Buccaneers need 8 for the first down. The ball is at the Detroit 11 with 1:16 remaining. Tampa Bay behind by 1. Carver to the 10 to the 9. And again, the Lions will call timeout. So now you're looking at a 26-yard field goal attempt for Capice. I thought the Lions called timeout, but the clock is obviously still moving. Let's see. Now Jim Tunney is trying to indicate timeout. So now we're going to have an adjustment. The clock has gone berserk here. The clock is still moving. And Jim Tunney was doing his best to indicate to the timekeeper that time has been called, but obviously there is some problem with stopping the clock from running.
They call that 1:05, and as you can see, all the time has run off the clock.
Tampa Bay, number 3.
And they're going to have to readjust the clock, Frank.
Unless Detroit didn't have any timeouts left to call.
He didn't start the 30-second clock until at least 10 seconds had run off the regular clock.
Well, Capice has come back in. There are 29 seconds shown on the clock. And we saw one of the Lions frantically trying to call timeout, but they may have been out of timeouts. As we mentioned earlier, Bill Capice has been extremely accurate inside the 30. He's at 8 out of 9 on the year. And this attempt will be from 26 yards. And as we told you earlier, the one field goal he missed from inside this range was against the Cowboys. Happened to be a very crucial miss, too, at the time. Al Tunney has gone over to the Tampa Bay bench to check with John McKay, and I'm sure it has to do with the time remaining. So if they don't adjust the time, we can only assume that the Lions were out of timeouts and couldn't stop the clock, and the Tampa Bay stopped it here. We'll get it straightened out as soon as Tunney does. Jim says it's all right by him, so okay, we'll go with it. 29 seconds left to play in the game. This could be the ball game. 27 yards. Bill Capice slams it through.
And he's 9 of 10 from that range.
Tampa Bay leading for the first time in the game with 25 seconds left. 23-21. Smallest guy in the field. Coming through with a very big kick. 5'7", 170. He knew it. Number one.
He hit it.
Oh, it's got to be frustrating for Monty Clark and the Lions. This has got to be an extremely bitter one to take after you're ahead the whole ball game. And in kicking that field goal, he also set a new Tampa Bay career scoring record. The old record of 127 points held by Neil O'Donoghue. He's now doing his kicking in St. Louis. All right, 25 seconds left. And you can imagine Capice, I imagine he's going to send it on the ground down the middle and prevent the long return because Detroit's got some people that can run him back.
Keep it away from Clark for sure.
25 seconds to go. This victory would be the fourth in 5. Last 5 outings for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And if the Lions lose it, it'll be 5 losses in 6 games since the strike ended. Robbie Martin is deep. The kick comes down short. Robbie Martin fields it at the 5. Back to the 15, and they do work a trick play over to the far side. But to no avail, as Martin tried a cross-field lateral, which went out of bounds. Lions will take over at the 17-yard line. The executive producer of the NFL on CBS, Terry O'Neill. Our senior producer, Charles H. Milton III. Our producer in Tampa today, Ed Gorin. And our director, Bob Daly. Rupert Kopenix, our old friend from New Orleans, on hand, along with John Connolly, who's done such a great job for us all year long, and some of the other people helping bring you this telecast on Christmas weekend, giving up a portion of their Christmas holiday. Danielson was trying to air it out down the sidelines, intended for Scott. It was intercepted but out of bounds, so it'll go as an incompleted pass. Great drive, 69-yard drive, but of course the 42-yard penalty, the key play and the one they're going to be talking about for the next couple of days. Tampa Bay now has the Chicago Bears upcoming next Sunday afternoon in their makeup game. And they'll need a victory in that one, certainly to assure themselves of a spot in the playoffs, although obviously the win today makes things look a lot brighter. And for the Lions, things looking dim for 1982 after such a great start, winning their first 2 games of the year before the strike, and then nothing going right. Danielson again airing it out down the sideline, and that Big Ben type of pass, and this time it is picked off by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the 48-yard line.
And as you stated, Frank, with the victory next week, they would assure themselves of a position in the playoffs. This team here is, as it depended so much all year on their defense, again, they got it today from the defense.
3 seconds left on the clock. Stay with us. We've got Dallas and Philadelphia coming up in the second half of our NFL doubleheader. The Cowboys and the Eagles battling it out at Texas Stadium.
And this has to be a bit of disappointment for the Lions, as you stated, because they did, in my personal opinion, I think they outplayed the Tampa Bay Bucks, but they sat on that lead and they weren't aggressive enough offensively.
It was Norris Thomas who came up with that interception, as the Lions simply sent 3 wide receivers down the right side, hope for a tip ball, hope for a miracle, a Hail Mary, but it wasn't coming. Last play of the game, as Doug Williams falls on the football. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, trailing 21-6 in the third period, have come from behind to defeat the Detroit Lions by a score of 23-21. So that puts Tampa Bay at 4-4 on the season, and the Lions go to 3-5, and their playoff hopes are dim considerably. And again, the game winner from 27 yards away by little Bill Capice, and his reaction and that of his holder, the punter Larry Swider, indicates that the Buccaneers have won this football game. And now for Joe Green, Frank Lieber saying so long from Tampa Stadium, where the final score was the Buccaneers 23 and the Lions 21. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this word from your local station.